Give me a sec. Sorry, y'all. Can y'all hear me? Listen, my daughter got booby traps on her laptop. I don't know what's going on. Happy Friday. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Happy Friday, you guys. You can take your take your mutes off, okay?
Happy Friday.
I think thank you. Thank you. I think Comcast has, done a number with Boost Mobile, like they're in it together now. Like, so my internet's messing up a little bit. But hopefully, HD, don't do that, because you be Boost Mobile all them other times. Don't do it. Don't come for me and my baby's laptop. I'm trying here.
Yeah, my internet be struggling, but not like that.
Usually on point with my school laptop, but that shit broke on me. So y'all, I like that little thumbnail said Diddy Did It. That's horrible. Y'all, do y'all know my students don't even, they like, huh? I'll be asking them about Young Jeezy, Cash Money. They're like, Cash who? Like, what? Y'all know Cash Money? They's like, I'm like, back that thing up. And they're like, oh yeah, we know back that thing up. I said, no, you don't. Not the way you just said it. You don't know it. But anyway. Yeah, do y'all kids? How old are y'all? Do y'all have kids who are teenage? They don't know these people like that.
We had kids
I'm like, wow.
So our kids are small.
Are we that old? Oh, you have small kids. Oh, they really want it.
Mm-hmm. No,
it's just amazing because
they say we born in the 1900s.
Amazing.
Disrespect.
We were.
I know, but the way they try to make me seem old, I'm like, what?
Oh, we were.
They put the 1900s
guys,
as if you was born 1910, even though you was born 1980.
Yeah. I can't wait till the babies come up and call him that you was born in the teens, So
hey, Passport King is kicking it off early in the chat.
Uh-oh.
What happened? What be whooped the same.
God,
I wish a Negro would. I would have to laugh at that. I mean, but Cassie was so young. I remember,
Oh, you talking about
when
Cassie?
She started in that business? She was like 18, right? She was very young when she started, on her road to music or whatever. And so when you have somebody who's so young and impressionable, we'll talk about that. But yeah, everybody knows what's going on with the Diddy. What are y'all's thoughts?
2016 wasn't that. Well, I guess it was a while ago. I was going to say that wasn't that long ago, but it's almost 10 years. Shit.
It don't seem that long ago.
That's a long time. That's 8 years ago. That's a long time.
8 years. I was in my 30s.
So I saw Perez Hilton post a video about, because people were saying like, you know, why is this coming out now? Why is this coming out? It's very simple. Diddy has been protected. He's been able to pay people off, and he's also been protected thus far, right? And so now the protection is gone, the hands are off, the covering has been removed, and Perez's take is what he's heard is that he's heard Diddy or his camp paid $50,000 to the hotel for the footage right after it happened, but in the midst of all the seizures that happened at all of Diddy's properties, the feds then seized the footage from one of his properties, and that's how in their custody it's getting released now. So that's what the speculation is
So
that
he held on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Dummy.
And so the feds is dropping it.
Yeah, they said at his main house where his sons were, they said it was like tons of video footage and tapes and all kind of stuff throughout, on top of cameras being found all over that particular house. But when they went through the other properties, they said it was lots of like video footage and cameras and I guess old tapes, you know, from wherever. So
it's crazy though. I was just watching a documentary on it, but they were talking about how they use the media. Of course, we all know we clearly see that he's that he's guilty of it, but they use the media to get people to for the public to convict him before the actual trial. So then it's easier for everybody to just go along with it. And if the feds is doing that, then that's a clear example of it.
He going to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in this situation, when it comes to Diddy, go ahead, Shane.
No, yeah, I think that go ahead. Now I want to hear what you got to say, and then I'll come back around with what I have to say.
No, I was just saying, like, it was kind of what we were talking about last night, as far as the public can have thoughts and I guess an opinion on all of these rumors involving all these different celebrities right now, because it's a lot of rumors about a lot of different people, right? Even going back to the Megan and Tory thing, like we talked about it. What's true? What do people think? Whose side are you on? All of that type of stuff. But when concrete evidence comes out, like video footage, and now you see and you can kind of piece everything together, like even going back to Making the Band, where Diddy is like this caricature of evil to people, right? He talks bad to interns. He wants to punish, you know, the girl side of Making the Band, I forgot the guy group that he had on Making the Band, but walking across the Brooklyn Bridge to get cheesecake.
Day 26?
Yeah,
Day 26. Yeah. All of that, all of those types of things has been said, even going back to college when he was at Howard, right? People said, oh, you know, he's got this evil, dark side to him. People have been saying this for decades, but it's been covered up and protected. It's been covered up and protected. And then with this Cassie thing, before Cassie got her money, he literally started to rebrand himself in the public eye. Oh, I'm Love now. I'm no longer Diddy. He named his new daughter Love. Like all of this, I would call it not paraphernalia, propaganda. All this propaganda around who he is, that he's just flooded through Instagram, flooded through media, just flooded out to kind of balance off all of the negative that was out there and the past whispers about him, right?
Well,
so now the video has validified everything. Go ahead, Biz.
I'll say two things to that. One, traditionally in the entertainment industry, that's just something that you're gonna go through. That's something you're just gonna experience. If you're getting your feet wet in the industry, people are gonna run over you. They're gonna talk to you in whatever type of way. That just kind of comes with the territory to see if you're truly serious about, getting into the entertainment business. The second part too, and again, not taking away anything that he's done and what it is that we're aware of, but we also have to remember that this is for ratings too. You know what I'm saying? Him making them walk across the bridge to go get some I don't know if it was milk. I want to say milk, like
cheesecake. It was cheesecake.
Cheesecake, right? It was milk on the on Dave Chappelle joint, but that's was Cambodian breast milk on Dave Chappelle joint, but that was for ratings, right? The other part too that I would say is, again, and we don't know if he honestly changed, but people can change. That's part of recreating yourself. So I won't lie, I did jump on the bandwagon once he embraced the whole love thing and shit like that, just because I felt that our community needed that. But after seeing that footage, that's some coward ass shit. No, I can't respect that.
I'm gonna be real, y'all. To me, it looked like a alcohol or drug fueled rage or episode. I don't think, and that even goes to the rumors that people saying that he's deep off into drugs and this whole he had drug mules for cocaine and Molly, and having Carisha involved with pink cocaine, which is something I just found out the term in 2024, which is ecstasy and cocaine mixed together. But it would kind of furthermore, it would add more truth to that behavior of not just being a rage, but it did to me look like a drug fueled rage, and the drugs and all that stuff was in the lawsuit in those documents as well. So I don't know. Everything's coming out. So
yeah,
let's take a moment to watch the video real fast. HD, then we're gonna let you go first, okay? Well, sorry, y'all. I'm hoping that this computer don't act a fool tonight. All right, here we go.
Mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. A lawsuit filed by Ventura in November last year and settled the next day referenced actions that seem to match those seen in this video. There is no audio. According to the complaint, Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye, which, according to the lawsuit, prompted Ventura to try and leave the hotel room. The surveillance video obtained by CNN begins as she enters the hallway. The complaint says as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. The complaint goes on to say he grabbed her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her.
Yeah, dude, a coward, man.
Do y'all remember that one time Cassie's private area got leaked? I'm starting to believe he did it. Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she sent a picture to somebody, and it got leaked on the internet, and I believe he did it now. But go ahead,
It's
HD.
possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I just, there's so many people that have like all the quote unquote power in the industries and all the industries. You already know, like, there's been stuff that's been festering for years upon years that it only comes out when somebody else wants to benefit. But in all actuality, it's just like, listen, I take the approach is that we have too much care for these celebrities, that we hang on everything that they do. You know, we watching and seeing what they got going on. Listen, you can't even pay your rent on time, and you worrying about Diddy. Like, bro, focus on the stuff that's important to you, and let this man go through what he got to go through. If he wrong, he gonna get the repercussions. If he got a bad lawyer, you know what I'm saying, and if they got enough case on him, you know? So it's just like, you understand. Like, listen, this woman was assaulted. Obviously, she was in a bad situation. You know, I'm glad she got out. You know, there's a lot of women that experience this kind of stuff from men of, you know, stature and respect and stuff like that. So I'm just like, hey, listen, if she can get up out of there, and, you know, and she can start putting her life together, I'm all for that. But it's so funny to me. He paid all this money quickly to hopefully get this thing to shut up, and then this thing just continue to blow up. They be like, oh, he paid money. Oh, he must be guilty. And all the people start Twitter fingering and trying to find out, do this, that, and the third. Man, I was just like, bro, I would hope that if I ever had to pay somebody off, that they would just be quiet. But apparently that's
Well,
never
he
the
got
case.
himself in trouble. It sound like they were quiet. He held
Yeah.
on to the camera footage.
Yeah, I was about to
He
say
did.
that. I said, why do these people hold on to so much? Now, the only thing that I can think of, the reason why you keep a lot of this stuff is so that you can keep other people quiet. He probably got stuff on other people that they found when they found his stuff. He also got stuff on other people. And that's how a lot of people also stay in power. It's like, hey, I got this chip, and if you mess with me, I'm about to put all this stuff out. But don't keep your own trash. Don't be out
Yeah,
here
because
with your own
why
footage.
is Jay-Z being so quiet and canceling every brunch come around? Like, something's going on with that. Something's going on with that.
Well, they did
It's
say
it's
that
a
any
power
billionaire
shift,
would have
right?
clean
The block
hands.
is hot.
It's a
Let's just
power
be very clear here. I want to make this very clear because people tend to hold on to this race thing, right? This is not a black man thing. This is a Diddy thing. Let's be very clear. When Weinstein or who all those people did it, they didn't say, oh, white man. They put it, that was him. So let's stop saying, oh, the black man. No, this is a black man who made some poor decisions, and he's going through something. This is not a black man thing. All right.
now.
So we gotta stop.
Are you addressing the chat?
I
Do I need to
will
address the chat?
say this though, in that very instance, even with Weinstein, we saw it, but it wasn't publicized the way that we see Diddy, Bill Cosby, somebody else, I forgot, it was somebody else just recently, but we didn't see it to that extent. I even want to say there was another actor that had similar allegations towards him. Russell Crowe, I think. Russell Crowe had similar allegations, and that was completely underneath the radar. So even though I do agree with you, but at the same time, they do go to that extra extent to villainize.
I don't agree
in
with
my
you
opinion.
because this should have been the red flag right here. When a billionaire friend got in trouble, that should if that Negro can get in trouble, you should have known you not safe, baby. That's their friend. They were on the list and they put it out there. You know what I'm saying? So that in your head should have been like, oh, they got him. I better be on my act right because that's their friend.
Right. No, I agree with
go to
you.
jail.
No,
Biz,
I agree
I
with
think it's
you,
because
but
of the bubble that we're in as far as our culture. Like, of course, all the black media outlets are covering it. But we follow the black media outlets. So
no,
when
I'm
Prince
we didn't know
Andrew,
the other guy.
when Prince Andrew was drugged down from his connection with Epstein, there's movies on Netflix about this. Like Prince Andrew being caught with Epstein and girls coming out of a townhome in the States, like that was a huge scandal. But why would the Shade Room is not going to cover that? You know what I'm saying? So we got to think about like what our lens is and what other people's lens is and where they get their media from and like their blogs. It's still as big, if not bigger, because a Prince Andrew is on a way larger stage than
This is
Diddy.
Diddy.
for sure.
Yeah,
No,
so he was, he was covered by the biggest news outlet overseas, you know. So it's like it's only because it's close to home that we feel like it's, oh, they're dragging our black men. No, they drag everybody else. We just don't follow those blogs and media outlets as much as we follow our own, I think.
I just want to
hear
jump.
you, but
Can
hold
I
on.
jump in here?
Say this real quick. I
Let
hear
him
you,
finish, and
but
then we'll go AP.
I hear you, but I'm actually in the film industry, so I was paying attention to, especially the Weinstein scandal. That was just super underneath the radar. Like it was out there, but it wasn't. It was nowhere near how it is now. In from what I saw, as far as with the coverage, like
You
even
think Weinstein was on the low?
What do you? No, now you want to be who watch certain.
I'm
You think
comparing
I
it.
would say you
I'm
think
comparing it
Weinstein
to
and
the other
Epstein was on the low compared to Diddy?
Shit.
Diddy and Bill Cosby.
Now Bill was
Oh,
big.
I gotta disagree
I
with
can
you.
say the Bill was big,
Shit.
and I know Diddy is new, but you cannot compare. We were sitting here looking. I didn't even know who this dude was. I'm sitting here looking at his list. You know what I'm saying? Like they blew him up. Like he has
Epstein has like 6
No, I
Netflix
said
movies.
Weinstein, not Epstein.
But
Harvey
Epstein,
Weinstein.
They're all in the same bubble though. Like it's
But
all kind of connected.
no.
Weinstein is
two different.
movies
It's two
and
different. It's
Epstein
two
is.
different people. It's two different
I
people.
know that.
But what we're saying is, so for
Epstein
example,
for sure was all over the place. I'm not saying that. Who I'm saying is Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein.
He was all over the place too.
And if
Not like
and when
this.
Woody
You had
Allen,
all those
let me
actors,
tell
you
you
had all
this.
those female actors come out about Weinstein and all of their own personal stories of them having auditions and sitting on his couch and going to his townhome, and like they individually came out just like they individually came out about Bill Cosby. It was, to me, it was the same. You had big A-list name actors or actresses that came out about their time with Weinstein, which is the same thing they did with Bill Cosby.
And I think that you have to look at it too. It's some people who not in our clique who still don't know Diddy. Like, huh? Who that? And they just gonna pass right on by because it's just like my students. They like, okay. We don't know who this man is. Bye.
Just real quick. So HD, I wholly disagree with your point and agree. So on the agree part, when you were talking about why are we invested in these celebrities' lives, shit, our lives are boring. Like, let's keep it real. They live a life we don't live. So of course they're on TV, we watch it. But on the other hand, when we're talking about situations like this, so often um, um, we, especially in this space, we like to highlight um, some of the situations where women have lied. Here, we have a situation where a woman has told the truth, and I'm glad it's on video. Now you can, like, I don't want women walking around afraid when they are in a situation like that. So, and I think it's important for when they're really in those type of situations, and we can have real life examples that it is flooded everywhere, and that we do pay attention. And hopefully, somebody says, well, some woman can actually say, maybe I can get out of this situation. Now, Viz, you are wholly incorrect in regards to the size and scope with it being black versus white. The difference is, and I think Miss Casey touched on this, the difference is black media wasn't covering all of the some of them covered Epstein, but a lot of them didn't cover Weinstein, just like they didn't cover Bill O'Reilly, just like they don't cover Hunter Biden. Like, all of this shit is huge news,
A
and it's
lot of the
being black.
media don't
Hold
cover.
on, like, can I finish real quick?
Yeah.
All of this is huge news, but black media doesn't cover it.
Because Epstein.
And on the other side of it, the
only
reason why
reason they
Diddy
cover
looks bigger.
Epstein. Okay.
On only reason why Diddy looks bigger is because not only is he being covered by white media, but he's also being covered by black media. So it looks like there's more attention, just like there was with Bill Cosby, just like there was with R. Kelly. It
That's
looks
the
like
point.
there's more attention, but
There is
the
more
white
attention.
media outlets covered these other folks just as hard. And
Well,
I'll end it there.
the
And
white
remember,
media as
Epstein,
a
we knew it to
whole does
ourselves.
not cover Hunter Biden for sure, without a doubt. They don't even cover Biden truthfully as much on both sides. So I would have to disagree with you on that one. I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying that these people aren't being covered. All that I'm saying is that between all of the platforms, we see more, in my opinion, what I see is more focus, especially towards Epstein for sure. But we see more of Bill, Kelly, um, Diddy now. You know what I'm saying? We see more of that, in my opinion, from what it is that I see. And I watch a wide array of news coverage.
You need to watch
I do
I
too, but
watch the black media.
when you duplicate it, so think about it like this: it's being duplicated not only from white media but also black media. What
and black
what you
people get
didn't,
dead in the ground. We will repeat some shit that we feel is in, and that's
so it's
really
going
what it is.
so it's going to look like that there's more coverage because it's being covered by both. Black media doesn't cover the white
That's the
folks.
they didn't white black media did not cover the fall of Kevin Spacey. They didn't cover the fall of Kelsey Grammer. Like they don't even touch on these white moguls because they know that
Woody
black people
Allen.
in the black audience does not
Don't
care.
care.
Yeah, like they don't care about it. They're not gonna watch it. They're gonna keep strolling. They're not gonna tune into it.
That's my
So
point. That's my
that black
point.
people don't
So
do it.
so if white media is covering R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Puff Daddy, and then they're not covered, and then we don't cover the other side, it's going to look as if one side is being pushed more than the other.
That's what we're saying, but it's only on the black side that that's a choice because we're saying that the white side is covering everybody that's falling, right? But black media does not. They pick and choose what they're going to put out there based on clicks and views. On the white side, they're going to put out everybody. You cannot expect white media and even going down to like TMZ and Entertainment Tonight, these more, quick, fast, popular news and rumor stations. They're going to cover Diddy. They're going to cover R. Kelly because they are such large entertainment
I see where
stars.
he's coming from.
So their audience is going to be interested in a R. Kelly, in a Diddy, because they actually know who those people are. They know who they are. Go ahead, Ruth.
Yeah, I see where this is coming from. Because it seems like, oh, they cover everybody equally, but in reality, they cover every last thing black people do, and then some of these white scandals. But even if black media decided, hey, we're going to do what they do to us, it's not going to matter because we still 14%, and we don't have a mind space. We don't care. So it's not a fight we can win. We know that it's always going to be slightly skewed. But also, we don't want to make that an excuse like, oh, they did this to the black man. And okay, well, look at the girl. Look at what happened to this. Like, we just jumped right over Cassie and went straight to Diddy. And like, have you ever had somebody kick you like that in the hallway or punch you or drag you? Like, that is nuts. That's crazy. I've been in some situations, but not that bad. And so just the fact that we're kind of like, focused still on the celebrity,
so concerned about him and not concerned about her.
Our brain just does
fuck
that.
dude.
Right.
Okay.
Like, imagine a sister, a friend, like that is traumatized. When
I
saw
think
that, I was like, oh my
Ruth,
God.
I think it's because she's remarried, she has children. I think people are it's not like it's happening in real time. So the conversation is based more on Diddy because he's the one that is going through the life change of presenting himself to be a certain way, and it's all been a lie. As far as Cassie, she removed herself from Diddy years ago, remarried, has children, like she's in a safe place. So it's not like if it was happening, like say something came out with Sierra and Russell and they're currently married, we wouldn't be talking about Russell. We'll be like, oh my God, is Sierra okay? Because
Who's the
it
biggest
would be
star again, right? But
well,
my point is that
It's clickbait.
yeah.
right. But still, like maybe because it's me, I empathize like with the person that's going through it. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they censored it? It's not censored. I just turned on Instagram and I saw the whole thing, and I'm just like, y'all think this is normal? This is not normal. Like this is crazy, and I don't want to give him drugs as excuse because I'm sure he would do that without the drugs. So it's just like a bunch of people, like either you're for him or you're covering for him, and it's just like, look, this person is bad. Like, and it's not every black man. It's not a black thing when it comes to that. But it's just like we need to have some kind of conversation about domestic abuse because it's not okay.
Well, so
It's just not
I'll
okay.
say
And
to
somebody in
that,
the chat just said like, oh, these. The first thing he said was these bees need to be hit like her. Like, I
yeah,
don't think that's a joke. That's not a joke to me. That's
there.
certain things
No,
are off limits.
let's
It's
be
definitely not a
honest.
joke.
Dude is a coward. Any man that put his hands on the female is a coward, plain and simple. Any man that rapes the R word, a woman needs to be castrated, in my opinion. You're the bottom of the barrel. Um, I think the most important part though is, and we see this a lot, and I understand that there may be trauma tied to it or whatever the case may be, but the most damaging part of it is that in many cases when these situations happen, women don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll say something and then try to cover it up in order to stay in the situation. So now that makes it more difficult for men to essentially be able to protect them.
She tried to
So
get out
I think
multiple
that
times. She tried to get
just
out
say
multiple
this.
times, but like depending on who you going up, she's literally going up against Diddy, who
It don't even have to be
all of
that.
this,
it
all of
don't
this,
It
just for
don't
him to
even
go
be
down. She
this.
could not get
Let
away
me
from
just
him.
say y'all this. Let me just say this about women, right? Whenever I know she was getting beaten, but what I've noticed is when a woman's heart is involved with somebody, she can take a lot of shit. It's the same reason why women let niggas slut them out. You know, they go back after he's cheated so many times. They go back after they know he treating her like, you know, when you have a woman's heart, you'll be amazed at how much crap she would take from you. And y'all know that. That's why y'all
but
try to get there. You know what I'm saying? This is
that
what I'm
doesn't
saying
change
is,
what the facts are.
you're not a woman. So I understand that it's
I
not
hear that.
right.
I hear
Listen to what
that.
I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I understand that you're not a listen. I understand that you will never understand. It's like talking to a woman. You're like, why does she keep putting herself in this situation?
Emotion.
And we've all been there. If you are a woman, you know we've all been there, stupid for somebody. Okay, and it's something you'll never understand, Viz, because you don't have the heart of a woman, nor do you have the mind.
That's fair, but I'm speaking from a man's perspective of where
But we're
black.
telling
No,
you.
no, no, no. Let me finish. Let me
Listen
finish.
to what I'm saying.
I'm
Let me
speaking
finish.
from a man's perspective where women expect men to protect them. So we cannot protect you if you're not placing yourself in a situation for us to protect you.
I didn't say anything about
That's all
protection.
that I'm saying.
I didn't say nothing.
Go ahead. Yeah, we understand that, but we just need you to get in the psyche of a woman. Okay, you're never gonna understand why women do the things we do. Sometimes we don't understand that shit. You feel me?
If y'all
we
don't
be like,
understand it,
damn,
then
why
y'all-
am I like this? You be want to run from it, but you cannot help it.
if y'all don't understand it, then you can't expect for a man to
Right. So
attempt
just
to.
understand it's something you'll never understand, but we understand it.
Yeah, but the person who was supposed to be protecting her was Diddy. It wasn't supposed to be another man protecting her against her lover. It was supposed to be Diddy keeping her safe within their relationship,
Right,
and
you
he
trust
didn't do
somebody
that.
and
So
they abuse your trust on top of that.
Right,
Logically,
right.
it makes sense for her to leave. Of
Logically.
course. Logically, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That, oh, she's good now because she has $30 million, but she'll probably never be fully healed by this scenario. I'm sorry, it's going to be a very long time before she's a whole woman.
Well,
married or not.
Now all of this is
because
happening
emotionally she was tied into this.
Yeah, this isn't a regular woman going through it. Like this, she was a celebrity that now everyone is seeing her, because most people who suffer with domestic violence, what they suffer in silence. When they leave, if they choose to tell their family, if they choose to tell their friends, that's on them. And that's going to be for their friends to speculate what that looked like, how that was. That's going to be all of their imagination. With this, there is no room for imagination, right? Everything's right there for you, black and white. So now she has to deal with the repercussions of her friends, her family, and the public actually seeing what her pain and experience was in real time. So now she's basically got to reprocess not only what happened, but now she has to reprocess everyone around her, her husband, her children will probably see this.
Married?
Like, yeah.
I'm glad that she's married, because if she wasn't married, that would like be damaging to her getting married, right? So now I feel like now she can, that's the light at the end of the tunnel where she can share her story, because she's, like you said, she moved past it. So that way it doesn't affect her in that way.
Yeah, so but now it's an open wound. It's an open wound again, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
You know,
Let me say this. Let me say this. And this again, I'm everything that I'm saying. I'm not saying it out of spite or anything of that nature. I'm just simply stating how it is that most men would view it from the outside in, right? So in this situation, I'm more than positive that she knew what she was getting herself into. Again, when you're in the industry, a lot of the music industry, the film industry is a wild and crazy game. And when you step into it, that you damn near know what you're getting yourself into before you actually get into it. So it's one of
Vince, I disagree with that. Like, I was a professional dancer. I danced for the NFL, the NBA. I worked with Cash Money for years. I was a casting director for videos. I was in music videos with Lil Wayne. Like, I was I was not an extra. I was principal dancers on sets. I've done movies. I was a dancer on movies. At the start of the movie and film industry in New Orleans after Katrina.
Well, so you should be aware of it then.
No, I understand what you're saying, but there's ways that you can get with people that you think are good people, and they turn out to not be good people.
I ain't never see that.
People put masks on in the industry, and they say, "Oh, let me help you," or "I got you," or "Come over here," or "I'll be manage you with this." People get taken to the bank every single day. This isn't like the whole smoke and mirrors of the industry is real. So to say that she knew who Diddy was before she got in a relationship with, she knew she was gonna get beat upside the head before she got beat upside the head. It's kind of like
I'm saying
I don't agree with that.
Oh, and again, I'm not taking anything away from her or women's understanding or whatever the case may be. But again, somebody that has been in that position of power for that long, I'm pretty sure at some point before he started to go up inside her head, that he showed that this is a part of him, that this is a dark side of him. Especially if she was
when you say that,
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like at some point she saw what was going on and decided to stay. You know what I'm saying? For the fame, for the money, whatever the case may be, because that's what they lead with.
Part of her is guilty. Yes, that's true. And that's true for a lot of women.
But that's what she was saying with her being young and impressionable, y'all. Like, people get these boys.
Hold on. So wait, so this is not one of those situations where you blame a victim for being a victim.
No,
the truth of the matter is, hold on. The truth of the matter is,
I'm sorry.
This is the problem with that.
The problem is the conversation. Hold on. The problem right now is the conversation. The way you're tilting this conversation, you're actually blaming her for getting her ass whooped on camera. Like, that's the way it sounds. I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. No, there's nothing first of all, nothing okay with putting your hands on a woman. We agree on that. We
We agree
100%
on
agree
that.
with
All
that.
day.
And the second thing is a young girl, like you could say a million, things, and you could see a million things, but the fact is the money, the fame, the glitz, the glamour, all of that's in a very young and impressionable young woman's face, and you're asking her to take that veil off to see what he's actually doing. Like
Yes.
I don't think that's right. And
I mean,
furthermore,
you can
like
say that it's
the
not right, but
like he got, for
the matter
example,
is you
I'm gonna
still
get this whole point out. Hold on.
go ahead.
The When he was dating Gina, and the first time he hit her, she deuced it up. She got up out because she was a little bit older at the time. Young Miami, for example, would talk about some of the things that he made her do. Like she had to wear the white fingernails and had to have her hair a very specific way. At some point, that relationship ended. So, like, when you are 18 and you jump into this business that you have so eloquently spoke about, you jump into this business, them blinders will be on because you have all of these other moving parts around you that you have never seen in your life. And I will never, ever, ever blame a victim for being a victim when you don't understand, when we can't fully comprehend the circumstances of what led to that. So it's just the way you're saying this is I don't think is a proper way to kind of lay out this argument.
That's fair. Now, let me get my rebuttal. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying 100%. Am I fully blaming her? Absolutely not. Again, no man should put his hands on a woman, period, or child, period, point blank, period. Now, the damaging part of saying what it is that you're saying is we are now continuing to blind women to the real world, to the facts of what is going on. If we keep telling women that, oh, you shouldn't have to worry about being a victim in a world where people are victims, we're causing more damage. So I'm more so saying this.
Where did AP and where did I say that you shouldn't prepare women to know that there's
I'm addressing
predators?
AP. I'm addressing
Okay.
what AP is saying. All that I'm saying is that if these signs are showing, if somebody is clearly showing you that they're manipulating you in a negative sense, then walk away. The money, the fame, whatever it is, it's not worth it. Just walk away while you still can. Because if you continue to wait, if you continue to take the money, if you continue to go on the red carpets, then that's going to make it seem as if you're with it. You're willingly putting yourself in this position. And I get it. Women don't want to hear it. I get it. But the truth of the matter is, no, let me finish. Let me finish. The truth of the matter is that in many cases, women unknowingly or knowingly put themselves in positions where they can easily become a victim. And all it is that I'm saying is that we as a community, as Black men and Black women, we have to take the accountability of teaching our younger generations and even the generations that we're a part of, because they're still making the same decisions, of making better decisions, of being able to gauge and see these things happening beforehand, and even listening to people tell them, hey, this isn't a route that you should be going. That's all that I'm saying.
And absolutely, I understand.
I'll wait my turn.
I understand what you're saying, but it's the same community that screams submission. Women, you need to submit to the
Women
man.
should. You should submit to your husband. If you married, you should absolutely submit. I don't understand why that's a problem.
So I completely understand what you're saying. We get that, okay? But what we're saying is we all, and I think that that's men too, always we get ourselves in some situations that we can't get ourselves out of, right? We've all been a victim of it. Nobody's perfect. You had a vice that you just couldn't get yourself out of. Nobody is free of that. So sometimes you got to think about that vice that you probably had in your life that took and you just couldn't get yourself. Because we got to remember, this wasn't just happening to Cassie. It was some men who was getting stuck as well. Okay, we've seen that. So
the difference in that is that I didn't blame anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Whatever vice it was that I got myself in, I blame myself for that. It wasn't another man. It wasn't another woman. It was my own fault. So you know what I'm saying? That's the difference.
What we can do. So what we can do is everything in hindsight. We got strong. We were strong in hindsight, right? We can always look back and that's what Cassie did. She looked back now that she's in a better place and she's able to say, I shouldn't have done that, you know? And so we're all strong in that moment. But when you were living the moment, if it was video, when you were living that moment and it's video and it's in your face again, you could be like, damn, why did I do that? Why wasn't I a little stronger? Everything, people don't like to live like.
So you make decisions without being aware of the decisions that you make.
So when we sit here and we talk about penis discipline, right? Or we talk about anything that people have there's a vice in you, right? People are human beings. Right. We all make poor decisions. It's the same reason why a chick is living with a dude for 10 years right now. That dude ain't got no good for her.
They willingly made that decision. That's my
I'm saying to you is there is more to it than that. It's just how people have to work through. That's the reason why people go to therapy. It's so everybody has an excuse for everything, right? It's the reason why you're not successful. It's the reason why you ain't got this. It's always something that you're into that you feel like, oh dang, I should have done something a little bit better. And this may be
always your fault.
But we're not saying that. But so just like you're saying it's her fault, we need you to put a little bit of that on Diddy.
I did. Fault. I'm not taking it.
It is his fault that he beat that girl up in the hallway.
I agree. The nigga is a coward.
She was trying to get away. She was literally trying to get away, and he ran after her to put them hands on her. So with that being said, she was trying to move. She was going that way. He ran behind her and did this to her. Okay. So that's all we're saying. You're emphasizing what she should have done. And meanwhile, the person who's running after her, you just ignoring all that.
I started off the conversation with saying the nigga is a coward.
Now you sound like you an abuser. You like to enable abuse.
No, listen,
No, that's
what are you listening to?
I hear what you're saying. Okay. After I empathize with her, after he said that he was a coward, you should have said Diddy's a coward. You're right. So directly, right? The next thing you can do is say, you know what's the teachable moment, right? We can learn from this. Young girls, don't just go for flashy and don't go for the money. Like it's always a cost. I'm going to Dubai. It's always something behind it, you know? And so therefore she can learn from her mistake and say, you know what, maybe I was a little bit too easily influenced by money and power, success, fame. I wanted to be in the limelight so bad. And it's every single time that you hear the story, it's like, hey, you really want to be an actor? You really want to be this? You want to sit on my couch? All of these things, even grown men are susceptible to these things. So imagine a woman. So that shows you the vulnerability of a young person. I don't know why they keep using young people. They love young people because it's so much easier to manipulate them, and women as well. So women are like this sensitive creature to me, because if you can get her emotions wrapped up, then you can get her. You know what I mean? And so it's very important that because I know what it's like to be in a certain situation where it's like, you know what? Now that it's over, I do regret falling for that. Now that it's over, maybe I shouldn't have went that route. Now that it's over, maybe I want to tell my daughters, like, hey, don't fall for this and don't fall for that, and take accountability. So I'm not sitting there trying to give 100% blame to the perpetrator. Guess what? I realize you're not that powerful after coming out. But when you're in it, you swear that person is God, right? But then the tables do turn. And everybody needs to know that if you're a perpetrator, the tables do turn. And Cassie got you by the balls now. So just remember that, And so we have to remember that as women, that we do have power and we don't have to be weak. And but we, like you said, it was hard to get herself out of it. Things take time, and you got to really, really hit rock bottom and say I'm worth it and love yourself. So that's what I say.
That's fair. And again, I 100% agree with everything that you said. Now, please, with the message that I'm giving, and maybe I'm not giving it in a way where is empathetic to women, but don't listen to it with your ego. Actually listen to the message that I'm saying. All that I'm saying is that we all as adults, if you have a working brain, you're able to make decisions in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if you're blinded by love or whatever the case may be, because I've been in the same boat. And I understand that it may be more or deeper for women or whatever the case. I get it. But at the end of the day, we all have the ability to make our own decisions in the moment. In the moments where I've made some of the dumbest decisions I've ever made in life, I was fully aware of me making that decision in that moment, and I justified it for myself in that moment. Even though I was so submerged in it, I was still able to say, okay, if I make this decision, I know that this is going to be the outcome from it. And all that I'm saying is that men and women need to take the accountability of being aware of what is going on in that moment, because every decision that we make is going to affect us in some type of way in the future. So if we want to make the most and the best out of our lives, then that is how it is that we have to approach it. That's all that I'm saying.
And I call
Let
it
me can I say something really fast?
The last thing.
Go ahead, Shan. I mean, go ahead, Ruth.
That was the last thing. I was just saying what Viz was talking about is the skill to make hard decisions. I had to teach myself and learn that. A lot of people in America, we don't want to make the tough choice. And when you get really good, you get to walk away. It took me a very long time to walk away from a very bad situation, but it was in the moment. Like I had so many red flags, like do it now, do it now, do it now. Still going back, still. I had a split second. I was like, you know what? This thought, and I was done. And from then on, I learned how to make hard decisions, and your life gets much better when you do that. That's all, Casey.
So, Viz, I understand the angle of what you're coming from, right? Because I'm about self accountability. My parents both instilled myself, my siblings, your control of your decisions, critical thinking skills, X, Y, and Z. With that being said, I know I'm a different breed than a lot of people, right? And it allows me to look at people from their decisions based on what they're equipped with and not based on what I'm equipped with and my personal interpersonal skills with dealing with people and being able to protect myself, whether it may be in business or in relationship, right? I personally know friends that have been in situations similar to this because I know a lot of people and have been around a lot of people. It comes a point, especially when you're talking about the tender age of 18, of manipulation, right? Of also protecting your offender, right? Whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's a parent, a family, or a relationship, whether it's male or female, it's so much more entangled of emotions as well as your duty to protect them while you're being completely violated, right? So to try to unpack that and not be a person that has gone through that, I think is doing a disservice to the audience right now, because unless we, Ruth is speaking from her personal experience, but unless we have personally gone through that to say what somebody should do and how they should handle it and what they should have did and how they should have left the first time and why did you stick around at the tender age of 18? And it also goes with coaches and Boy Scouts. People get molested and beat for decades on end. It's so psychological. It's not just physically getting beat upside the head or getting beat. It's a psychological strain and grip that their offender has on them. So not only do they have to physically break from that, but they have to mentally break from that person and break from that grip that person has psychologically on them. So for me, I don't even think about, oh, why did she stay so long? All of the things that I just described, all of that's going on, and then pile on who Diddy is, right? He's not the everyday person. And then pile on money, influence, cameras, action, all of that smoke and mirrors on top of that. So not only is she going through what a lot of Americans and people in general go through every single day, she also was in the limelight, protecting herself, her image, and protecting Diddy's self and image, and also thinking about the backlash of what would happen to her family if her check stopped, right? Because Diddy was then funding and fueling her lifestyle at that point in her career. He was the machine behind it and making sure that she was on point. He was even behind her style and image of her being an artist, telling her to shave her side of her hair, cut her hair completely off, all of these things. So the psychological part of it, I think we would be remiss if we don't include that in the conversation, and also be respectful of how of a tender age she was. Her journey and anyone's journey does not have to look identical to anybody else's journey when it comes to abuse. It does not.
I agree. I agree with you again. I agree with you again. All that I'm saying, and I'm sure that we can all agree to this, is the only way that we can stop this from happening is through awareness. It's through awareness.
You're not gonna stop it from happening, Biz.
Of course, I know we can't stop.
It's not. Yeah.
It's always going to happen, but awareness on its own, that is everything. So if we can make people, men and women, if we can make them aware as to what is going on and how to handle the situation in that moment, and give the power back to that person. Ruth said it herself. She wasn't able to walk away from it until she realized that she had the power herself. So if we focus more on giving the power back to these potential victims, then just imagine how many lives we can save.
You know Biz, I agree with you on that. But everything starts in the home. Every single thing starts in the home. And when a young girl doesn't have a father protecting her at home, the world is going to be a freaking open season for anything to happen to her, because she's not aware of certain things that her father would have protected her from and poured into her. If she didn't see her mother be protected from the world, her mother loved properly, it doesn't matter what her mom says. Oh, her mom could say, hey, make sure these guys out here, and she could have a guard up, right? She can have a guard up because her mother may be a single mother. She can have a guard up saying, okay, I didn't see my mom get beat up, so I'm ready for it, right? But soon as she experiences a love that she's never seen before, then steps in manipulation, right? False love and what she thinks real love is versus what love is supposed to be from a man and from a relationship. So just think, it's just so much to unpack. Yes, I believe in saying and spreading positivity, but even when it comes to like Girl Scouts or community groups, the home, if you don't get certain things at home, it's gonna make you open season for what the world has to offer as far as evil.
Clarify something.
Let me play this video, and it's gonna circle back around. So write down your note, Ruth, and I'll let you up first. Okay. I'm gonna play the Paris video. Okay.
By now, I'm sure we've all seen the video has hit CNN of Diddy assaulting Cassie. Very triggering, even for me, who is not a domestic violence victim, but all of my support goes to any domestic violence victim that was triggered in that particular incident, because that was very difficult to watch. First things first, people keep talking about, oh, she got paid. I thought her case was closed. Let's just go ahead and break this down. Cassie had a civil suit against Bad Boy. Diddy just so happened to be the CEO at the time of Bad Boy, his own record label. She sued the record label. So they paid out the claim of her allegations. Had nothing to do with him paying her directly. It was his company because she was an employee and it happened under their watch while she was working for them. Second part about this is The allegations about him sex trafficking with producer Rodney Jones is the reason as to why this is happening. Homeland Security got word of him possibly sex trafficking, which is how Cassie got subpoenaed, and now she is cooperating. The footage that we seen did not come directly from Cassie leaking it to CNN. That was the DA. So he is fighting the state. The other part of this is the hotel. Businesses like to protect their own interests. Do I agree with it? No, but that's how corporations work. And if they can be paid off to keep it quiet, it keeps them in a positive limelight because they want to remain away from certain types of stigmas and things like that. They don't want to have been seen as a place of where violence or anything negative could affect their sales. That's just how business work. Don't agree with it, but the hotel was paid off by Diddy. The third part about this is nobody should be getting more scrutiny than Diddy. So trying to say the people that were around him need to be held accountable because they knew this was going on with her. The people that were around him should have been said something, this, that, and the third. If you haven't caught the drift by now, people are repetitiously telling you this man is dangerous. He has a lot of power. He has a lot of status. He has a lot of respect, where even now you're seeing celebrities are in support of him having to bite their tongue because now they're getting to see the man that you were supporting is not the person that you thought he was. At the end of all this, we've seen many times where women have accusations against men and they literally just seek out their money. Cassie is cooperating in order to make sure that Diddy actually pay for his crimes. If anything, she deserves all the support because she's ensuring that she gets vindicated for what happened to her. And at this point in time, nobody can doubt what actually happened to her.
I wholly agree with most of what she said. Go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, I just wanted to say I
That's
never.
my first time watching.
I empathize with her, but I never had nobody kick me or all the stuff that she went through. I didn't go through none of that. It was two little things. I got pushed, and I got compared to her, it was nothing. So two little incidences, but the psychological abuse is real, and so you have to be careful who you submit to because you can be a submissive woman, and a man cannot appreciate it and take advantage of it. So to expect every woman to be submissive to every man, this is how she probably got in the scenario in the first place because he could never do that with a combative, crazy woman, right? So they wouldn't be able to take that. So I'm not saying it's a lot of women in the middle. I'm not saying that everybody that's not submissive is combative, but my point is like, yeah, I know what it's like to have the psychological abuse, and that can cost you a lot in the long term as well. So yeah, I'm not blaming her, but I know looking back when she takes accountability, like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have chose that guy. Maybe I shouldn't have, taken the money while I was with him, or I was addicted to this and I was addicted to that. I should have said something, but yeah, a lot of bad things happened to her, and it's very unfortunate. But yeah.
I completely agree with you on that, Ruth. I also agree with what Paris was saying at the end of that. The one thing we have to remember, what is it, 92? Diddy has honed this skill and been working on this particular skill since 1992. This dude is a real super predator. Everybody from big stars like the rumors with Usher and Bieber to these various women. This dude is an absolute monster, and a super predator. And whatever happens to him, I hope it's the worst of the worst. It's just absolutely disgusting. And I haven't rocked with that dude ever since the rumors that he might have had something to do with Pac's death. Period. Fuck that dude. That's what I got to say. I'm done.
Yeah, can I
And
go
let me
after you,
say this.
Shan?
Oh, sorry. And I think that we're underestimating the power of manipulation, right? Manipulation, we continue to get manipulated. Even look at how many followers certain people have, and you like they listening to this dude, and they like wrapped around it. Just even today, let's take Cassie out of it. Just think about the people who follow people, and you be like, what is the shenanigans? We just talked about on the Thursday show, like maybe 3 weeks ago, Jonestown, how that man was able to persuade all them people to kill their kids and themselves. You feel me? That's how people can get into certain people. Some people's minds aren't as strong as other people's. Y'all got to remember that. Everybody ain't you. You know, so when you're doing things like that, you just have to take yourself out of the situation and understand it happens every single day. It is still happening. We were slaves for 400 years. How they get in our heads like that? And we are definitely the stronger species. How the fuck did that happen? We can always look back and be like, what the hell?
But that's
was that about? You know,
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
the power of manipulation getting in your head.
That's what I'm saying though. Rose what's her name that had the underground railroad? Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed more people if they knew that they were slaves. All that I'm saying is that awareness is key. If we are making people aware of people, their intentions of the manipulation, then we will be able to save a lot more people. The hardcore reality of it is that what Diddy is doing, what Jim Jones has done, that will continue to happen until the end of time. As long as there's people in society, that will continue to happen. The only way that we can combat that is by showing and telling people what it is that's going on and what to look out for so that they can avoid it. That's all that I'm saying. I'm just taking it from a logical approach where we can find a solution, and that's it. That's all. We can talk about it all day, but if we don't take an approach to have the solution for it, then the conversation is meaningless. That's all that I'm saying.
I completely understand and agree with you. And I'm sorry. It's just always going to be more weak-minded people, like Shan is saying. It's that people are weak. People. While I was in the grocery store yesterday, and there was a husband and wife on scooters. They're both over 500 pounds, and in the cereal aisle, I'm walking to get some breakfast bars. And they were looking at all the stuff with the cereal, the dyes, and all of that. And it's just like, once certain things have your brain, you can't help certain people. Certain people can't be helped and persuaded. And guess what? Their children are going to think the same way. That it's going to go on for generations and generations and generations. Like, I'm in fitness now. I can talk people about fitness. I'm a person, you know what? I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to just show you, right? People, your weight not going to come off. Like, okay, I'm going to show you faster than I can tell. Like, anything that a person says I can't do, my brain, and that's what I was saying, Biz, I agree with you about mental, just having mental strength to overcome things and also take self-accountability. That is what I preach every single day. But I also realize, as Shan says, I'm me. And a lot of people aren't raised with that ability, with that resilience, with that perseverance. They don't have that in them. And so it's human nature that whatever you're given certain things, and then certain things have to be given to you and taught to you and practiced, right? It could be culturally, it could be in your household, it could be community wise. Certain things have to be ingrained. On Saturday mornings, once it hit 8 o'clock, my daddy said, get out of bed. What y'all doing? Let's get up. Come on, start cleaning, start doing this, get outside and play, get out the bed. It doesn't matter how tired I am at my big old age, I'm still going to move in that manner because it was ingrained in me, no matter what. So if you don't have certain things mentally, I'm wrapping it up, Shan. If you don't have certain things mentally built into you to protect yourself when somebody is hurting you, you may feel like, man, it's still the right, I need to stand by them. Because they weren't taught otherwise.
Sometimes you
They
think
just
people
weren't.
are good. Like when you're a good person, you think that other people. What you say?
Real fast, just to piggyback on her, because I know you're gonna go to piggyback on her. I mean, think about you as in, and this is on a different level, but it's the same thing. You probably eating something that's killing you every day, and you know it's killing you, but you keep doing it. It's killing you, and you keep doing it. You can't even stop doing something that's killing you. Yes, she was. So even if you say, okay, she was going after money, this is what she had to do for money. You sitting here at home, just like she said, the big girls and staying the aisle eating food that we do that every day. You can't step away from it because it's it's the same thing. It's just on different levels. Everybody's got vices in their lives that they cannot step away from. Whether you be a smoker, whether you are a hooker, smoke, all these are vices. And for whatever reason, your mind it's killing you, but you don't care. You just like it's just killing you in a different way.
So who in that case? Who do you blame?
You said what?
In that situation, who's to blame then? You know what I'm saying?
So what we're saying is,
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Right. So at the end of the day, look, at the end of the day, I get so when we're talking about Diddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're saying is we got to stop. It's kind of like if I see a person who molested somebody, right? And you got these, we got to stop putting the blame on, well, why didn't she let her kids go there? No, his ass needs to be locked up in a dungeon somewhere.
I agree.
So
I'm not.
saying, I know you clarified it, and I get that. So that's the reason why we're saying we put it, and you're right. We do need to protect ourselves. It is up to you to protect yourselves. But we're just giving you different ways that people, because this is a human nature thing. This is human. We've all been there just in different ways. And so while we say it's easy, because I may not let a man put his hands on me, it may be something else I'm doing that's the same shit that I'm being manipulated with. So I'm strong in that area, but I'm weak in this area. We've all been manipulated in some type of way. We all still getting manipulated in some type of way. Think about how you just said it. Black people represented in media, and we keep going through that same thing. We keep seeing music, keep putting us in a bad light, but guess what we still doing? Bumping the music. You understand what I'm saying? We still doing shit. So what I'm saying is people, not you, baby.
Whose fault is that, though?
Be able to listen, baby.
No, I hear what you're saying, but whose fault is that, though? That's all that I'm saying.
But
even in the situation of where she was saying we're working out, right? Everybody wants to be fit. Everybody wants to have a banging body. But if you are actually in fitness, you know that everybody isn't going to achieve it because they're not willing to put the work in order to get it. So all that I'm saying is that if you want to be able to avoid certain situations in life, you have to make yourself aware of them. That's all that I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not taking.
And that's my point, Viz. My point is that sometimes you are unaware of the evil in the world. Before, when I got sucked into the little Diddy mind, like this was crazy, blowing my mind, like what this is not real, right? Just watching video after video when it first broke out, and then you just have to be I didn't even think that was possible. I'm like, why would everybody go to these parties and everybody knew what's going on? Like it was just it was hard to wrap my mind around it. And that takes me back to when I was younger. You are unaware of all the evil in the world. Like you're unaware that people, because you're a good person, you think people think like you. It's not until you start getting burnt in the world, like, wait a minute, hold on. And you get burnt too many times, then you start realizing how people are. Then you get to a point like, yo, most of y'all are evil, right? But 75% of y'all ain't good. It takes a long time to find that good quality person because everybody got this big flaw that Shannon is saying. Like everybody got some huge thing that I'm like, you know what? Let me stay away from this person and stay away from that person. That's probably why we can't date like we used to, because we see the red flags in each other. And it's very hard to find that good person. And when you find that good person, they better want you back because they might think they too good for you. So it's just, we have to be aware of how bad things can be, how evil people can be, and stop trusting people they have to earn information. They have to earn your trust. They have to earn. It's not because he looked good and you do this and that and you give it up to him on the first date or first 2 weeks or all that. They have to earn, what happened to the ring before sex? What happened to all of these things? Let him work for it. Like, these are all important things that we need to teach our children, because nobody taught us. And that's where the difference is. If we're taught these things, then our eyes are open. We understand that somebody's going to trick us with an apple. It's going to look good. Like, when you tell them kids about sex, do you say, oh, sex is bad, stay away from it? No, you're like, yo, it feel good. Don't even start. You know what I mean? Don't even start, or you're going to get trapped in it. Or are you saying, you know what, just protect yourself? Like, it's certain ways you got to handle yourself as a parent to teach them so they can stay out of the traps that life has set for them.
Oh, I hear what you're saying, but even with the sex part, I I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure all 6 of us on this panel, including everybody that's in the chat, at some point in time was aware of not having sex until you was married. You know what I'm saying? Of having children out of wedlock. At some point, I'm pretty sure that we were all fully aware of that. And at the same time,
and we know that sex leads to babies.
And I'm more than positive that everybody on this panel, if you married or not, has had unprotected sex before. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things of where we are aware of it, but now you have to actually apply it in those situations.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying, but to me, and maybe I'm being insensitive, but I feel that we are in a position of where we can no longer handle any more coddling, because that's not helping us. So the only thing that can be done is to give it to people in the raw. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. There will always be terrible people out here. There will always be predators. There's nothing that we can do about that. In many cases, society protects them, women protect them, men protect them. And there's only so much that can be done. So the only other thing that we can do is make it aware to people that if this situation arises, that all right, we have to point this out. This person right here, this is a predator. I don't care what or how it is that I feel about him. I'm gonna point this out so that we can handle him accordingly and move forward from there. But until that happens, there will always be Diddies, there will always be predators, and so on and so forth. So until we get to that point where we have a full understanding of that, this is only going to continue.
Because he has money. Because he has money, now we protect.
It don't matter if he has money.
No, I'm telling you, the messed up part about what you said is that society is protecting predators. Well, they protect them because they have money. So when we stop valuing money over human life and all of these bad things that can happen,
that's fair.
I don't care if he had money, then he's still a predator. He needs to go to jail. And everybody got to.
It's not, but it's not always money though. It's not always money, Ruth. Like I couldn't even get. Fame. Yeah, I couldn't even get through the Boy Scouts Netflix movie with how they were predators and moving people around, just as the Catholic Church. I guess you could say the money element as far as the organization, and that being damaged in their. So yeah, I guess you have a point there, but individually wise, they weren't protected. They were protected, and to protect the larger organization. So you're right.
AP, you about to say something?
I was gonna ask you what I heard from you in 53 minutes and 17 seconds, 18, 19.
Our Sweeney,
so what's up, bro? What's on your mind?
So my mind is it's extremely hard to have conversations like this, especially when in regards to the opposite sex, because even when we talk about these cases of domestic abuse, or when we talk about grape and all these things, brothers are coming from the standpoint of eliminating a problem. When you talk to women, they're talking about all the other things that come with the person experiencing the problem. You want to talk about how you feel, how you think, and what was going on, and all these other factors. But sometimes when you're thinking about all of the stuff, which some people would consider fluff, right? The reality is when you get focused on the things that don't help you for the most part, you don't actually start doing the things that do help you. Like there's so many women that have experienced abuse and experienced all of these things, right? They never filed a report. So what happens is the guy that they had the experience with is able to get off scot-free, and he does it to another person and another person. And then when you ask women, well, I didn't do it because of this, which is all valid, which is all true. We understand that. But because of you being stuck in this point, now there's other people that will experience what you experience. And even if he don't got when you put it up, it creates a paper trail. And I just think that sometimes, like when we have these conversations, it's really hard because men are sometimes don't articulate well that they're trying to protect women, right, from themselves. And then you add in the extra layer of the fact that everybody's free. All the women who decided that they want to be with this guy, that guy, or go to this school or this program, this career, you always are asking for protection, but you are independent of any protection because you have the freedom to choose whatever it is that you want to do. So it is true. When you're young, you don't have a very well-rounded frame of mind of understanding the positives and negatives in the world, right? But guess what? When you turn 18, it don't matter if you know that. You're still going to get charged as an adult. You're still going to get hit. I remember when I first got saved, right? I was like 18, 19 or something like that. And I went to this church, right? And the thing that changed my mind about church and whatnot, because I grew up in the church, Catholic church, Black Catholic church, right? This man told me, or in his speech, he said, your ignorance of the gospel doesn't protect you from the repercussions thereof. When he said that, I said, snap. I said, yo, that's I said, wait a
My
minute. If I'm
mom
going
and
to hell,
dad said that.
I might as well go find out why I'm going to hell, right? Or what is this big thing that's going on? Because I went to church, but I ain't never care. And it's just very interesting that like we all have situations where we can have an inkling that I might be in trouble. But too many situations that we enter in by ourselves. And that's the reason why when brothers are bringing this stuff up, they'd be like, well, she only has herself to blame because she was the main one making the decision to get into this. And it's like it's hard to even more have these conversations because a lot of people are saying back in the day, this would have been easier to mitigate it because men were responsible for their daughters, right? But then that means that women don't have the same autonomy that they wanted, that they want now, that they have. Then now you enter in that you have autonomy, you got freedoms, you got whatever it is that you want to do, right? So now you enter in everything based upon your own experience and knowledge, right? And then you get yourself locked up and you'd be like, why nobody protected me? Nobody can protect you because you are responsible for yourself now, because we now have a structure in a society that's like everybody fend for themselves until enough people get jacked up. Now everybody like, oh, we need to band together, but you can't tell me what to do. So it's just like, it's really hard having these conversations between the sexes because we do not approach things the same way. Men is like, all right, A, B, C. Woman is like A subsection B, article 43-C on the west coast of this statute with article 47B. But they gonna get through everything and they're gonna add more intricacies into the situation for you to better understand the whole thing. But it's like, bro, we ain't always got time for that.
Hey,
So,
growing up,
Shane, I
growing
just
up,
have a question for HD.
Let me real fast.
Okay.
And I understand what you're saying, right? But what happens is you guys blame women for something. It's the timing. So when we did the R. Kelly show, it was like, wow, these people come up here talk about R. Kelly now. That's them drawing awareness because obviously it was something he was continually doing. It was like, okay, we're going to speak about him. And they got down on those people. Y'all start getting on like, where all these people come from? Why y'all just now saying something? Same thing with her. How many people came out to Cassie when she brought that case up? How many people? was against Cassie when she brought that case up because, you know, she talking about Diddy. So when women step up, if they see a backlash from them stepping up, it makes them not even want to say nothing because now it's like y'all on me and I'm trying to let everybody know what's going
that be
down.
the main difference between men and women. Brothers are used to having to be the sacrifice because the thing is, if they don't, what I'm saying is like you will stand up and stand on something that maybe everybody else is against, but because you believe this is going to be the betterment of the future, you're going to stand and die on that hill. That's the reason why a lot of women that experience these things, they don't say anything because of how they feel and all the society pressures. But the reason why you're able to exist with some of the protections that you got is because somebody made the sacrifice in spite of what might happen to them, for them to take the brunt of what was going to happen to you so that it wouldn't happen to you, which is why it's like, yo, it's really hard to have these conversations because it's like,
this would be
to piggyback off of what
a
HB was
conversation. This would be a different conversation if Diddy, and also from what my understanding is, if these things weren't happening or were just happening to women, please remember these things were also happening to men. The same men that you say have logic that have not spoken. The only person I heard was Raz B probably spoke up. How many of these men up until now spoke up about these things that were happening to them? These are men. So it's not just women who are victims. These are also men who are victims who had an opportunity to speak up. And even when Raz B came out years ago and told y'all what was going on, y'all ignored him, made him like the person y'all like, you know, pushed him to the side. And this dude told y'all what was going on. Y'all made a spectacle of him. And not y'all, not you guys, but I'm just saying the community. And now it's all coming out from different voices, you know, and it's like all of a sudden it's legit. Like what?
Yeah.
That's why people don't like to
that's like the difference
I would
between.
say, let me say this in the situation of the guys. Right. I feel that that's a different dynamic than for women. Again, the same exact circumstances. These men knew exactly what they were signing up for. You know what I'm saying? They knew
they were young
that
too.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So 14-year-old Usher knew what he was signing up for. Is that the argument?
His mama did.
Come on, man. Like, come on. You didn't. So AP, are you seriously saying that at 14 that people were able to make were able to manipulate you in a way where they were able to play with your booty hole?
This is what I will say, because I've never been in that situation, but this is what I can say. People were able to manipulate me with just a few $100s to move their bricks for them.
Okay.
AP, you don't say that online.
Now take that. Now you
AP,
take that.
AP, no.
Statutes of limitations.
Listen, it's people out here getting
No,
manipulated.
no,
Get paid
it's
$2,000 an hour to work a
It
whole
happened in the
hour.
90s.
That's manipulation, though.
To me, it's the same scenario. To me, it's the same scenario on a much bigger scale. So, what if I give you $200,000 at 14? Would you let me cuddle you in bed? Me at 14, who I was at 14, probably not, because I'm gonna stab the shit out of you. But those guys from those situations and their parents are like, yeah, for $200,000, you can go to Camp Diddy.
AP,
I'm just saying.
You have
Hear
children.
me out. So AP, in that situation, when they gave you X amount of dollars, did you or did you not know that what you were doing was something that was illegal?
I did not fully understand the scope or scale of what I was doing. No.
Yes or no?
No, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I did not fully understand the full scope and scale of what I was doing. I didn't fully understand that there's a difference between moving 3 keys and $200 worth of rocks. I didn't understand the full scope. I do now.
So let me ask you, Viz. Let me ask you real fast, Viz, as a teacher. Are you saying that my 14-year-olds are responsible? So when they do something wrong, if, for example, you know, if a 14-year-old slept with a teacher, you're saying that 14-year-old is just as responsible as that teacher that they slept with because he should know better? Are you saying that they're not victims?
I'm not saying that they're
That's
not.
a good scenario, Shan.
I'm not saying that they're not.
He didn't say they're not victims.
What
So
I'm
I'll give him
saying
that.
is that at 14, most, if not all, unless you have some mental disorder or whatever the case may be, and even in those situations, I would still say that it's the same. At 14, you know what is right from wrong. You have some type of understanding of what is right and what is wrong.
If you have more guidance, yes. You know, because when my daughter was 14, she had the option of starting to talk to boys or not, but I was guiding her like, hey, hold off, wait. She could have easily went the other direction. And
but
I
did
knew
she
that
do it?
She didn't do it because I stressed upon her all of the consequences. I spoke to her. I kept it open. I did a whole lot in order to sway her from the different choices her friends made. She could have easily went the other way. And I knew at 14 I was sneaky. So I respected her that she was open and honest with me. But when you don't have a parent that's there for you to guide you, you can easily make a decision at 14 that I made a decision at 14 that I still have to live with today.
So
and listen, it's not even about.
Let me address that real quick. Let me address that real quick. Let me
Hold on, wait. Disclaimer. Hey guys, I'm 45 now. So if you go back to 14, I'm in the clear. I'm in the clear. I just want y'all to know that you can't go. It's been too long. Statute of limitation passed.
So really, a 14-year-old real fast, as a person who deals with 14-year-olds every day. Yes, we think they know. Some of them know stuff. Some of them don't know stuff. Okay, they make poor decisions every single day. They're still learning. Okay, because in that case, I can just punish them like I'm punishing an adult. Even when you do something, listen. It depends on what they do. But even when
that's why kids now.
Listen, so let me ask you a question, Viz. Let's think back, Viz. So you did everything right. Do you have any kids out of wedlock?
I do.
Okay, so you made a poor decision.
I did.
Said, I was young. I didn't know any better.
And I knew. No. I knew what I was doing in that moment. There's no way that you can sit here and logically tell me that even in the situation of what Ruth just said, she explained this to her daughter, X, Y, and Z. Her daughter then was able to make the decision of either listening to her or not. We're making this something that's extremely.
So what I'm saying to you is real fast. So what I'm saying to you is, were you able to at whatever age you were? Let's just say it's a 14-year-old who gets pregnant by 8. Do you think a 14-year-old is able to foresee the consequences of their action? Like now, I just got pregnant. Now getting pregnant means I'm about to have a baby. Now having a baby means I got to give up my life, which means that now I'm gonna lose sleep. All of the kids don't think like that. They think on surface level.
They don't. They do not.
Like
and you know why they think like that? Because you aren't reprimanding them in the sense of them being an adult. You're not showing them any consequences. You're doing exactly what you just said of where, it depends on what it is. No, that is not how life works. Why would we teach children a way of how life does not work? That doesn't make sense. That's why we have. Hear me out. That is why we have children. That is why we have children now that are making decisions, teenagers making decisions that is completely just like, what the fuck are you thinking? And that is happening because they have no consequences. No one is holding them accountable for their decisions. We have 13-year-old girls and boys that are carjacking people. Mm-hmm. This is real.
It's happening not because they don't have consequences. It's happening because they don't have guidance.
They don't have guidance because they don't have guidance.
Not because they don't have consequences.
It's
happening because they don't have guidance.
Because we're coddling them.
True.
They need somebody.
They're not being coddled. They're not being taken care of at all. They're raising themselves.
I think that is. I will say,
it's kids raising themselves in New Orleans. They're raising themselves. They're the truancy levels. They're not going to school. They're literally raising themselves. They're latchkey kids or latchkey, whatever you call it. Their parents work 3-4 jobs. They don't have any supervision, day in, day out, up, sunrise, sundown. They are literally, the streets are raising them. So it's not that they don't have consequences. They have no guidance or structure in order to them to understand what consequences and right and wrong and what can happen to your life down the line. It's the whole reason why you have people in jail that didn't want to give back to the community after they done served 30 years. Now they see where they went wrong because they had no guidance before they did the 30 years. Now they're grown enough to understand.
And they don't have guidance because we're steady feeding into this same narrative. I don't understand the logic of me simply saying that we need to hold our children accountable.
I'm not
so that we can. I don't understand the logic of saying that we need to hold our children accountable as a society, as a culture, as a community, much rather than making the excuses. We can make excuses all day long, but a wise man once said that excuses only sound good to the person that's giving them. At the end of the day, we have to make some type of change. We have to come up with some type of solution. And in my opinion, the first thing that we can do is start holding each other accountable, regardless of how old it is that we are.
So listen, I agree with what you're. So after I talk, I want AP to talk. Nobody else talks except for AP. Okay. So I agree with what you're saying. I think I agree with both of you guys are saying. There needs to be consequences. There needs to be guidance. But psychologically, like even with the way the brain works, we know that at a certain age, it's fully developed, right? It's just certain things that we just cannot. It's the reason why you can't do certain things at certain ages. All those laws are there for a reason. Okay. So we cannot, you can't debate science. You can't debate research. I said, well, hold on. It's Biz.
I hear you.
A lot of people just.
But you have your degree in this, Shan, don't you?
Okay.
Don't you have your degree in it? You have your degree, so you know what's developmentally appropriate for a 14-year-old, right?
For 14-year-old. It's the same reason it steps to educate people. Now, I understand the hard not like you. Some kids learn faster than others because they're very, you live in a certain neighborhood. You gotta live a certain way, right? I get that. But what I'm saying to you is everybody on this panel has made mistakes growing up. We cannot say that we're a different person now than we were when we were 14. We do not act like 14-year-olds for a reason, right? Because we're immature. And so everything in hindsight, I can sit here as a 46-year-old and say at 14, I was not thinking. It's some shit I know now, even from 10 years ago, that I've learned up until this point, because it takes growth, it takes experience, it takes life lessons. There's so many things. It's a journey, right? And for a 14-year-old, they haven't that and in different areas. So I'm just saying, just have a little bit of, just keep that in mind. We can't have 14-year-olds doing the same thing 46-year-olds. We're just not.
That's as a grown man. As a grown man, I can't accept that. Now, for you as a woman, that's fair.
Biz, we understand your point because we heard it twice. Okay, we get it. Let people rebuttal what you're saying, and then we'll come back around to you. Okay. Go ahead, AP.
So I want to make some things clear. The question you asked me was, did I know the difference between right and wrong at 14? I knew the difference between right and wrong. Mm-hmm. Yes. However, I want to go back to the manipulation piece that we've been talking about with super predators like a Diddy, like an Epstein, like a Weinstein, right? At 14, this is what was said. Hey man, look, I'm gonna put $7,500 in your pocket. You're gonna have these 3 loaves in a backpack, and I need you to take it to X, Y, and Z. Did I know having the 3 loaves was wrong? Absolutely. I knew that part was wrong. Wait a minute. But this is also what is told to you. But man, if you get in trouble, it'll only be a first time, and since you're under 18, nothing's really going to happen to you. At that point, when you're having that message thrown at you over and over and over. You're like, all right, bet, cool. Fortunately, I never got caught with any bricks on me because what I understand now at 44 is I had the riskiest job of anybody. The absolute riskiest job. I carried the most weight. I'm on a bicycle out in the open during the daytime. Like these are runners for those that don't understand any of the business. That is absolutely positively one of the riskiest jobs you can have in that game. I didn't understand the full levity of how wrong that is, nor did I fully understand the consequences of how wrong that was. So
But you
what
knew,
you're suggesting, what I'm hearing from you is, okay, if you get caught with them with those three loaves on you, you should be tried just like an adult that would have three loaves on them. Should I really? I honestly didn't. Honestly, me reflecting back, I didn't fully understand the levity of that decision. Nor does
I'm-
any 14-year-old truly fully understand the levity of the decisions that they're making. Because otherwise, if they did, they wouldn't say things like, "Oh, I know, Dad. Oh, I know, Ma. I know, I know, I know." Come to find out, they didn't know shit. And they'll come back and tell you, I'm glad you I followed what you said because I didn't really know. They'll come back and say that. So you can't like I think it's wrong to suggest that the same punishment for adults should be for children. The same type of accountability should be for children, especially through high level manipulation when you don't know what's happening. And in the Cassie scenario, she was being manipulated by on a much larger scale than I ever was by people with much more power than the people that I knew ever had. And it's not just coming from, let's say, Diddy. She's likely getting it from every single angle of the business. Oh, he's directing your career just fine. Oh, if you listen to him, you're going to be a star. That's what she's hearing over and over and over. Couple that with, oh, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to punch you in the face this time. It won't happen again. Because that's what these super predators do. They tell you, "Oh, I love you, and I won't ever do that again. It was a mistake." And then you're getting all of these other outside influences telling you, "Oh, probably, baby, he just got mad, or he was just drunk, or you know how he get when he like that." Because we know what those fucking conversations sound like. We can't pretend like we don't know. And until you're able to take that step back, similar to what Ruth was talking about, where she was able to take that step back and say, "Hey, wait a minute," and then I'm out of it. She got out of it when that realization hit. She got this Cassie lady got out of it when that realization hit, and she got remarried
so
or
AP,
married, not remarried.
so
So,
AP,
like, I understand what you're saying, but you don't fully understand until you fully understand.
so
And I,
AP, so AP,
yes, sir,
when you were moving, when you were was a runner, right? You admitted to saying that essentially knew what you were doing, but you didn't understand the full scope of it.
correct,
The key point is that you knew what you were doing. That is all that I'm saying. Regardless, it's even adults that make extremely stupid decisions, knowing that is incorrect, that it's the wrong decision to make, but they still do it due to the fact of them not knowing or understanding the full scope of it. That's an excuse that anybody could use. Now, again, I'm not saying in that situation, if you got caught with 30 keys or 3 keys or whatever, should you sit in prison for the rest of your life? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that there are children that are knowingly and willingly at 13, 14, walking around with guns, carjacking people. There was just recently a kid, I'm thinking like in Minnesota or Minneapolis or something like that, 16, robbing a woman in front of a church, old lady push her down the stairs. You know what I'm saying? Are we not supposed to hold him accountable for what he's doing? Of course. There was a group of kids in Minneapolis that was from the ages of 13 to 17 that beat an old man to death at 2 a.m. in the morning with a construction cone. Are we not supposed to hold them accountable? Absolutely, as adults, because when you make decisions in life, you have to live with the consequences, regardless of how old it is that you are. That is life.
So
Life.
we know
That's
that there should be consequences. Nobody's arguing. We know that they're just saying the severity of the like how that person thinks. Are they able to think the same way another person who is of age think? We're not saying there should be. I'm not saying there should be any consequences.
All that I'm saying is that they know what is right from wrong. We're taking away the accountability of people and validating them to be able to do crazy and wild ass shit. That is, I'm telling you, this is why we are experiencing what it is that we're experiencing with this generation, because they have no accountability. There's no.
I put more blame on the adults for having these children and letting the streets raise them. That's who I put the accountability on. I put the accountability on children running wild because parents not in the house raising their children, parents in the streets with the kids themselves.
Because
that's why I
nobody
put that's why I put the accountability on.
Because nobody held them accountable.
So I want to pick Viz's brain. Viz, do you think that men should be on child support?
What is it? What does that have to do with this?
Because I want to know where the accountability stops and where it, So I just want
you taking it to a whole. You taking it to a whole other.
It's my show. It's my show. It's a question. It's a question. What do you think about child support?
I feel that men should take care of their children. If they are not in their lives and it takes for the government to force them to take care of their children, then absolutely. That is a man's duty. If you planted a seed inside of a woman, then absolutely you should be taking care of your child.
Do you also believe, so we had a conversation, I don't think you were a part of it. Do you also believe that women it should be mandatory paternity tests?
I do. We see it countless times over and over again where women will blatantly lie.
It's not evil. It's Friday night.
You say what?
This is what we wholly agree, Biz.
We gotta bring on the juice, honey. The tea. Wake everybody up. Shit, everybody here on a Friday night for like boredom. Listen, so in the reason the reason why I asked you that is because my take on it was paternity tests are readily available. You can buy them at CVS. Like you can literally go down the street and buy so if you are concerned that this woman is lying to you, you can just buy. They're like easy. And all you have to do is just swap the kids cheap. So why is it that it has to be mandatory when you can take the action to it doesn't hurt the kid. It's a very simple process. It's just like like you brush your teeth.
I don't think that someone should take a paternity test from CVS. I think that they should go the legit.
Well, you can get it from different places. You can get. I just use that as you can get it from a lab. So basically what I'm saying is they are readily available to you, right?
That's fair.
Why would it have to be mandatory when it's already it's free? You have access to it.
I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know where you're going with it.
So what I'm saying to you is, so my take on it was nobody has to make it mandatory because you can do it yourself. It's kind of like saying, are you HIV positive? You don't have to make it mandatory that people get tested. You can be proactive and say, listen, I don't know you like that, boo. Before you into me, or you can say that to your partner. If you know that this person, especially if you're not married to this person.
But that's a joint thing. That's on both parties. The women,
you don't have
women hold the key to sex. A man can't have sex with a woman if it's consensual. A man can have sex with a woman unless she okays it, let
No, what
alone
I'm
have
saying,
unprotected sex with him.
so what I'm saying is, now that the baby is born, right? Why does it have to be mandatory when you can just go get a test and you can say, hey, we're not married. I just want to make sure this kid is mine. You don't have to have the parent because you're the parent too. You can swap your child's mouth and you can see if the kid is yours. Like there's no legal, you can just like you can go buy a condom or like you can go buy Patron. You can go buy a DNA test and test.
You're skipping important context to that whole conversation.
What that sounds like is two people not
Shane,
taking
check the chat
for the decisions that they making.
There you go, Casey. But listen, y'all making this real hard for the simplest thing. Vince already understand his levels to this. There's nuance. There's all this stuff. He's just saying, even if you have the knowledge of right or wrong, you're still choosing to do right or wrong. And that, of course, there's going to be consequences. And he also agrees there should be levels to the severity of the consequences based upon the age and all this other stuff. He already understands that. But the thing is, he's trying to get y'all to just let it go and just make it real simple. Is that, the simple fact of the matter is you still have to start at the fact that you had information that could have prevented all of this. Matter of fact, you've had sex education. You didn't had this. Y'all didn't seen other people have bad situations.
Come on,
we
man.
all have so many different situations.
But how is that different from my question? How is that different from my question?
We're not arguing about how it's different.
If we know that chicks lie about kids, why is it okay to be proactive when you getting beat on, but you can't be proactive when making sure this is your kid?
We're not arguing about proactive, but then you also got to add the fact of, if you ask a woman whether you're married to them or not, hey, I want to take a test because this kid ain't mine, then introduces all the stuff that y'all was saying earlier today, which is about the state of mind, or how is that going to make that woman feel? You don't trust me, you don't believe me, this, that, the third. Listen, this is the reason why it's always going to be hard to have these kind of conversations between the opposite sex, because you ain't gonna never be a question about whether or not that kid is yours, because that kid came out of you. It's always gonna be a question about that kid being his, because that kid ain't come out of him. So the reality is this whole conversation could have been done in 5 minutes, but y'all want to go back and forth with this man who already conceded about the point that y'all were making.
No, you're missing my point. My point was, listen. My point is this:
that man ain't conceded any points.
He did. He conceded all the points.
Numerous points.
No, sir.
The reason why I said that is because what happens is a lot of people like to point the accountability when it's the opposite way. So I wanted to see if I change the narrative, and we're talking about accountability, because the point is there's no victimhood on this space, my understanding. So also, if you're going to sit here and say a man is a victim because she lied to him about his kid, okay, I need you to have that same big energy and say, listen, you cannot be a victim. You should have gone to CVS or to a local lab, swab that baby's mouth to make sure that that's your kid before you sign a birth certificate, because you know that the chick that you slide up in, also somebody else was sliding up in them. That's all I'm saying. You can't sit here
the big dick don't change just because I'm 14 or I'm 40. The big dick is the big dick.
What I'm saying is, you can't be like, victims gotta know better when it's a woman, but in the same token, when a man is a victim, it's the woman's fault. Like it's manipulation. It's manipulators. Women are manipulators and men are manipulators. It's on both sides. So we all gotta protect ourselves.
Man, I don't know how many times this man that conceded so many things that agreed with both of y'all, and y'all still want to argue with this man. The thing is you gotta understand, like, you are responsible for yourself, right? And that the reality is like, listen, you can have the perfect situation. people gonna have all the guidance, all the information, all the teaching, and they still do stupid stuff. There's many parents in 2-parent households that are running their kids. They giving them all the guidance, they give them all the protection, all the classes, all the education, right? And they still be out in the streets because they saw something that made them feel better. Listen, the reality is it's not simple, cut and dry. I get it. But that don't mean that because you killed a person at 14, that means that you shouldn't get no smoke. Now, granted,
killing is different. Killing
you
is
make it
different,
different, but sin is sin. The issue is still the issue.
I said molestation. I didn't say killing.
Okay, that's the same thing.
And HD, let me just be clear, because you talking for him. I want to hear from his mouth because he never answered my question. You came in. I want him to answer the question. So my question to you, but listen, so because you repeated things several times, I just need you to repeat this one too.
Well,
my question to you is, do you think that men are victims when they sign a birth certificate and the kid is not theirs, when they have these tests readily available to them?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
The men's fault.
I think that I think that it's easy for a man to claim that he is a victim in that situation. Is he a victim? Sure, he absolutely can be. I think that that's a bit of a different situation depending on what the relationship is. If this couple is married, then
not married. I'm talking about. I'm not married.
I don't. It shouldn't matter.
So if they aren't married and this is just some fling or something like that, then absolutely it is upon that man to go out of his way to ensure that child is his, in my opinion, because again, women lie, men lie, women lie, just as they say. I despise men that don't take care of their seed, because that is a part of why we are in the position that we're in now. So I'm in no way, shape, or form am I condoning that. And absolutely, that's ridiculous. All that I'm saying is that in that situation, if these two grown adults are coming together and they're having unprotected sex, and she gets pregnant, then that is up for these two grown adults to make the decision to figure out what it is that needs to be done from then on. Period.
What if they're married?
14? If they're 14, then what?
What you mean if they're 14, then what?
At 14, they got together, they're having a baby. Like, should they have the same consequences as everybody else?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is the man a victim if they're married?
The man is a victim if they're married.
I think he's a victim.
But did he not see the signs that she was cheating?
I mean, women are sneaky. A lot of times we don't know that.
So in this case, if you're all we did was kind of flip the scenario a little bit. All we did was hold on. All we did was flip it just a little bit, and now
that's
the man is wait, hold on, but now the man is a victim. But you use the same manipulation tactic, and I'm taking everything back to the Cassie situation because that's what we're talking about tonight, right? So you use the similar manipulation tactics, and she should have seen the signs before that happened, and he can't see the signs before that she's cheating because women are manipulative. Like, I get it. I know how manipulative women can be. As a man, I know, and I know how ain't shit we can be as men. So my thought process on it is both can be victims, both can be manipulated, both were like in these scenarios, both were manipulated, and the onus is on the woman in the pregnancy situation and Diddy in the Cassie situation. What it sounds like to me, and I know your stance on Diddy, but at the same time, in the same breath, you said that there were signs there that she should have seen. So shouldn't there have been signs that he should have seen?
I'm pretty sure, but there's a different, in my opinion, there's a different level of commitment there. The Diddy and Cassie, they were dating, even if we don't even know if they were actually official dating, compared to a couple being married, where these two people have made vows before God between each other. There's a different level of
Take the
commitment.
marriage out. Take the marriage out. Let's
No,
say
we're
Liz,
talking we're talking about
Liz,
marriage though. In my
Liz,
opinion, marriage takes it to a different level.
you gotta
Now,
buy it that you're
Liz.
not seeing. You
now
gotta buy it
let
that
me
you're not
finish.
seeing.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
finish. Now, is there are there signs that's usually there? Possibly. But women have openly admitted that they are the better cheaters. This is a common fact. Common fact.
So
Women have openly admitted that they are better cheaters. Period.
so this is the
So
And
thing.
men are actually better women beaters too because they're
that's
stronger than
fair.
women. So
I'm
like,
not
what are we
arguing
talking
that. I'm
about?
not arguing that. All
Well,
I'm
That's not even a
saying,
statistic. That's not even.
so the
That's just,
difference is so the difference is this being and how so when I look at Maury and a man is on the stands and that woman, he goes, you are not the father. I don't place blame. I was asking you questions because I wanted to know your input because you blame, you think the victim. I don't blame the
I
victim.
didn't
I be like,
blame the
that
victim.
hoe, let me finish what I'm saying. I be
Never blamed
like,
the
that
victim.
hoe done slutted out, got on national TV with this baby, and this ain't even this man kid. I get up on that chick because she's nasty, she conniving, and I do that for every woman. And even in a situation where you got a man in a hospital room trying to take care of a kid, and you know that kid ain't his kid, or it's a piece of him that I'm the person, I don't mind saying that just wrong. Okay. You feel what I'm saying? But because you took the stance that you took earlier, I wanted to hear you also on a different level when it's the men who are the victim. I wanted to make sure that you stand by, and you did earlier, a few minutes ago. You stood by, you was like, listen, no, that's up to you. But then you changed it when it was married. And I'm like, oh, no, here we go. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
it's
I was
marriage.
riding with
How,
you.
I don't understand how marriage doesn't change the narrative of that.
Does
Again,
it change the narrative when a man cheats
are they married?
and he's married? Does
What do
it
you
change the
mean?
narrative when a man cheats and he's married?
What do you mean by that?
So, for example, if marriage is this solid, okay, when you go into a marriage, all the rules change, right? And don't get it twisted, they're supposed to.
It's
They're
supposed
supposed to.
to. Like
They're
what
supposed to, but we know that. But let's step into reality.
that is
Well,
reality.
people,
If we keep
listen,
if we make it
if
okay.
it's the reality, you wouldn't even have to get your mouth swabbed because the chick should keep her legs closed. Reality
That's
is
my point.
people
That's my
are,
point. That's what I'm saying. If
you're
marriage
not.
is
You just
supposed
said
to
you
be
shouldn't
this
have
thing,
to.
if that's what I said, if marriage is supposed to be this ordained and holy thing that two people are conjoining in, then no, there should be no reason for a man to have to tell his wife that he wants to get a paternity test. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we talking
He
about here?
doesn't have to tell her.
But
So
that's
what I'm
what you're
saying to you,
saying. That was your question.
no,
so
my
you're
question
saying that
was
you
in
have to go
general.
to
Somebody else brought the
get,
marriage in.
get the required test so you won't have to go to CVS. Is what you're saying?
No, all that I'm saying to this situation is that a married man should not have to go to his wife and say, I want to have a paternity test. That should not be the case because they are married. That is all that I'm saying. Regardless,
But you gotta
regardless
open
of,
your mouth. If you want something, then get it done. I get tired
I
of
should as a
men don't speak up, and then you trying to blame it on the women at the same time. If you want to test, it's on you. You have to take responsibility, and you go get it done. The men should go ask for a mandatory one, or I don't know how that works.
why
But you
should a
feel what I'm saying?
man Why should a married
Because he
man?
want to know. Because he's the one that don't know. It's
I
only you. I
shouldn't.
know
It
where it came
shouldn't be
from, right?
questioned. What are we talking about?
You're right.
It
It
shouldn't
should be
be questioned.
Viz question. So you're right. It should be questioned. So you agree that it should not be a requirement. It should not be mandatory to take a DNA test. Women should not. It should be a case by case situation.
What I'm saying is that a married man should not have to have the desire or want to have a paternity test with his pregnated wife. It's a very I don't
But he want to
understand
know.
what's so complex about it.
So he should just believe her.
No,
I
no.
agree. No,
Like,
I actually
I agree
with
with him.
mandatory
So
testing.
what are we talking about?
I agree, but
So-
I wanted to know his opinion on mandatory testing because if
So-
he that would
Oh,
agree
okay.
that he doesn't believe that there should be mandatory testing because he believes that married people have a sacred union and there's no need to have a mandatory testing.
So,
That's what you're saying?
I've been saying that for the past 10
I thought
minutes.
you
How
meant-
long this
I
question
thought you
been
meant the
going
opposite.
on?
So Viz, so first I want to start off by saying I actually agree you shouldn't need it. Just like Cassie shouldn't be punched and kicked.
Oh my God.
Like hold on. Just follow me for a minute.
I agree with you.
I know that's what we both agree on, both of those. We agree on both of those stances. Here's the difference though. What if the baby is not his? Should he have seen the signs that his wife was cheating on him the same way Cassie should have seen the signs that Diddy could or would become abusive later on?
Again, I feel that it is a very different situation.
It isn't.
Listen, let me slide up in here right quick. Okay, we can easily call somebody a victim whether they knew what was going to happen or they didn't know what was going to happen. What y'all are arguing is the fact of the matter is she could have known that there might have been something up with this guy, right? But she could possibly not have known about the severity of the abuse that she would experience. That doesn't mean that she couldn't have avoided this whole entire situation altogether by saying, hey, I don't know about this guy. You know, I've heard some stories and this, that, and the third, you know, she could have made it a decision to eject from him altogether at the onset of the whole situation. But I understand where you guys are coming from. Listen, the simple fact of the matter is this. You can be a victim, right? And you can also see the ways that you could have avoided this situation. You could knew that, dang, I should have known better. Or you could have been like, dang, I had no clue. And then you start going back to think, okay, what are the things that I miss that could have helped me to see this situation and actually avoid this situation? This man Viz been like literally agreeing with y'all this whole time. The only difference is the level of which he is saying
He said it was different.
he's putting
So he didn't say it was different.
emphasis. He's putting a strong emphasis on the fact of the matter is that we got to deal with these situations directly. You got to be able to think about what happened from just an information standpoint. And from this information that you have received, how can we continue to make our situations better? How can we continue to prevent this stuff from happening? You can only do that when you examine these things as just information. Hey, listen, I did know, right? I didn't know the severity. Hell, people be making good decisions now at 40 and don't know the severity of the things that's going to be coming down the line. Just like the brothers that even when we talk about some of the laws and legislation that came out, there was things that came out. They was like, oh, the man was like, this would be a great idea. And the woman was like, yeah, this would be a great idea. There are certain things and decisions that you will make knowing finite information that you think is going to be good. But in the long term, it actually turned out to not be the same thing that you thought it to be. And the understanding of is just like, listen, just because you got age, just because you got information, it doesn't guarantee a positive result. And that's the thing that we have to understand. Like, listen, he 14 years old and he did something bad. Dang, that's true. That's, you know, we need to nip this in the bud before it becomes a problem. He's 40 years old. We need to nip this in the bud before it becomes a problem. But the thing is that something that was mentioned earlier, you talked about the mindset of the woman that was experiencing these things from the abuser, right? We're talking about, how they felt and all of these things, and the potential upbringing, and they didn't get taught this, they didn't get taught this. But you got to also have that same energy for the person that was the abuser. A lot of these abusers don't grow up in the best situations, or they learn from the wrong people. We have so much humanity for the people that experience pain and trauma, but we don't have any humanity for the people who cause these issues and these problems, right? That doesn't mean that they should be absolved of consequences, but we also need to understand that if we want to also prevent people like him, right, you got to know what caused people like him. You got to know the thought process. You got to know the understanding, the pathology. You got to understand how, his environment was. What kind of power did he have that make him want to think that he can get away with this and pay people? Because the thing is in 2016, when he knew about this, he could have been dealing with it then. It's 8 years later. The reason why he didn't have to deal with it that way 16 or 8 years ago is because he said, I can pay them and I can keep going on about my business instead of dealing with it and then having other cases and other things pile up on him. If he would have just dealt with it then, we would be having this problem. But I think that we wouldn't beat a dead horse. Listen, this guy Diddy, he probably going to jail. And if he don't go to jail, you know why he not going to jail. But that's also not to say that this woman was subjected to things that she should not have been to. She was subjected to a bunch of stuff that she should not have been to. But we can also potentially say, hey, this could have possibly been avoided. But guess what? It wasn't avoided. And here's all the things that came from that. And use this as an example to how can we avoid this stuff in the future. She
That's it.
got out. She probably told her story to other people. She did a lawsuit against this guy, sued this guy. So now there's even more legislation to protect women in the future. This is the stuff that men are talking about. Yo, get some paperwork in this situation and get your feelings out of this so that we can actually save people beyond you. Because if you are going to let your feelings dictate how you feel, like, society is going to get me and this, and the third, we're going to continue to let people that causes millions of people pain and anguish. We're going to continue to let these people skate away because nobody won't do nothing about it.
So
I
a couple
wholly
things.
agree. I wholly agree. And real quick before you go, Viz, I know Casey's gonna be rolling pretty soon, and we haven't heard from her in about 23 minutes. And we'd like to get her in here before she gets up out of here.
Thanks, AP. No, HD, it's been a couple times you've talked, but when you started talking the last time, you said men don't articulate well the point that you're trying to make. You articulated your point very well. You're very logical and you remind me of my husband, the way you're able to break things down and be stern in your stance. And so no, I really appreciate what you were saying, that you were a little frustrated because of the difference in sexes in the conversation. But no, you articulated yourself very well. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So yeah.
Can I ask what was the difference from what he said compared to what I said?
So well, it's a couple. I'll start. So
without including your emotions in it.
When you say stuff,
no, I'm not emotional
you say
about
that.
it. Yeah, well, I mean, that adds the nuances.
That's fair.
The nuances are removed. HD explained it very black and white, and he also explained the stance of why he disagreed, but he also acknowledged what we were saying at the same time saying why he disagreed with it. So I think for Viz, some of the things that you were saying, you kind of put this wall down of saying, I don't acknowledge what you're saying, y'all, because this is how it should be. Da, 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 da. You would say, you said I hear you a lot, but then you still go the opposite direction and saying, but X, Y, X, Y, Z. So you're saying some of the same points, but HD is really breaking it down more logically, like black and white, to say, okay, y'all, this is what's being said, but moving forward, this is where we need to pay more attention to. So yes, you are right in all of the things that you're saying about it. And that's what you kind of are skipping over, Viz. You don't want to acknowledge the different nuances of why things are happening. That's
I saw
no,
something different.
You saw something different. Go ahead.
So for me,
I agree. I
think
agree
that,
with everything y'all was saying.
Yeah. So I think that it started out in the beginning when there were excuses. You came out was like, well, this is being covered way more than this. It was like you were trying to find an excuse after an excuse. It was like a defense thing that you were like oh, but it's the news outlet. Like but black men are, and then it started there. And then it continued.
So y'all took that as a took that as a jab of
no.
Let her get it out, bro.
So it started. So what it did, it started there, right? So most people, like, we want, you acknowledge that this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? It almost became a defense for Diddy, and then it came back around at the back end, like, no, that's not what I'm saying. And then you start to clarify yourself along the way. But as it started, because I don't forget the beginning. As it started, it almost seemed like you came in on a defense of, and that's the whole point of me saying, I want to make very clear, this is not a black man issue, because black men don't go around beating people. Let's be very clear about that. This is a Diddy who just so happens to be a black man, because I don't want people to put the face of this is what black men do, because this is not what black men do that I know. So when you started out that way, and it was like, oh, they're only doing it because it's a black, you made it a black person issue, when in actuality, he is the same as the rest of them, the people who are up there in power with him. He's no different from Epstein. He's no different from, and yeah, we pointed out, you may not have seen it, but I've seen them cover all of these things. It was almost like a defense for Diddy.
I never said that I didn't see them cover it. I said that I did see them cover it. All I said was that I saw them cover it more, being that it was. So
I get what you're saying, but I'm just telling you why we came the way, why I came the way I came, because that's how it seemed when you came in. I see what you're saying. But what I'm saying to you is the reason why I said what I said, because from jump, it became like a defense Diddy thing.
It was not. Even when we brought
this, even when we brought the Cassie, you turned it around and made it more importantly about what Cassie should have done.
That's very true.
And
that is the part.
Because we agree that as a victim, there are steps that you need to do. Everything that you said, we totally agree with. But what we don't want to do is make that so much bigger than the fact that this nigga put his hands on this girl who was running away from him. He chased her out. And this is what we can see. We don't know what else happened. But what we saw was a woman who was trying to get away from a man who ran after her and gave her and then you were like, well, she should have. We just want to acknowledge that first. And then on the back end, like HD did, on the back end, say, look, this is how we got to change. We got to look at it from both standpoints. These both people. This is just what we know.
I hear what you're saying.
Ask a question.
Let me say this again, because I said this in the early stages before we even got into this. Any man that puts his hands on a woman is a coward. They deserve to be beaten with rocks, with rocks inside of socks. Any man that puts his hands on a child, that molests a child, that rapes a woman, anything of that nature, they deserve to be castrated. Period. I have no empathy whatsoever for men that do that.
Yeah, Biz, we didn't think that you felt any other way about this.
Let me finish. All that I'm saying is that there is going to always be men that are predators. There's always going to be predators, regardless of the race, regardless of the creed, whatever the case may be. That will always be. The only thing that we can do, that I can do, as a black man to prevent this from happening to my beautiful black women is tell them what it is, point blank and period, straight up and down. I'm sorry that I'm not saying it in the softest tone, but at this point, I feel that we don't need any more of that. So if HD is able to get that point across, then HD, thank you for saying that. But there's going to be somebody in the chats that is going to understand and comprehend what it is that I'm saying, and they're not going to take it as if I'm coming at them or downplaying what is going on, because I'm acknowledging what's going on. But the fact is that this can be prevented if we raise the awareness and make each person aware of how to prevent this from happening. That's all that I'm saying.
What can be prevented,
brother,
though? I want to know.
I
I want to know what can be prevented, because you can be in a relationship and somebody just go upside your head. So whether it happens one time or whether it happens 20 times, that damage is still going to be done to that person. So
a little too much responsibility on the victim. I see what you're saying. He's putting a lot more responsibility on the victim than the predator. And so, she has a small part, but I got what you said from the beginning. Because I'm trying to find the things that I do agree with on. So that's why I went that way. But what HD said, I learned something new about what he was saying. Like, hey, you guys want autonomy. So that means it comes with responsibility. So that's why it was impactful for me. And when you do it without the emotion and the bias, like if you have a bias about men are always going to seem to be like in the clear for whatever they do, then the first thing a woman's going to do, and this is my opinion, is we're going to defend the women. So it's like, if I hear that a lot, like this is, he should have, basically you're defending men a lot, right? Even
I'm not defending men.
It sounded like indirectly you were, because you're but
that's not what I'm doing.
We spent a whole lot of time talking about what the victim should have done versus what Diddy should have never did in the first place. And
we already know that.
It's like a dismissal of the feelings. So we were on the panel and we talked about women. Sometimes we need to talk and vent, but you presented a solution like way early, right? And so therefore, sometimes it can't really click, because we were not ready for that solution. We wanted to hear more about like whatever we were talking about, be seen, heard, and then say, all right, here's the solution.
Right.
So Viz, first, I want real quick, I'm gonna let you go because I'm throwing it at you. When you first started, like me and you, we're typically eye to eye on most things, and I was agreeing with you all the way up until the point when you said what she should have done, because it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, and I understand. And not only do we fully understand what Diddy should not have done, I would think that we all know what she probably should have done. I would like to say that we all already knew that going into it. Now, when you said she should have, in my mind, I'm like, bro, we know when we look at shit in real life, how things like that happen. And we don't know if that was her first time or if that was the only time. We don't know any of that context. What we know is this dude punched her, she ran, he chased her in a bath towel, kicked her, threw some bases at her, whatever the hell he did. You immediately said what she should have done is recognize earlier on to help prevent that situation. While I agree with you, when I said I agree with you, I actually literally agree with that point. I don't disagree with that point. The problem is when you say that, you're fully dismissing the actual incident that did occur. And we don't know how she was raised. Like, we don't fully know how she was raised. We don't know what she knew. For example, in a group chat today, when JR sent the information about the Dr. Dre's ex-wife saying how that triggered her, I don't know their relationship. I wouldn't know anything about their relationship, which suggests to me maybe Cassie didn't really know about this guy. I didn't know about two prominent people who've been in the business for over 40 years. You know what I'm saying? So how can we expect her to know if she doesn't know, and we don't know if she knew? So when you say she should have, should she at 18? Should she have known?
Come on,
I'm
man.
I'm just I'm just saying like you took it away all the way away from
Uh,
what actually happened.
Oh, this
But
is
I
I,
do
I,
agree with you,
I hear
and
what
this
y'all are
goes back
saying.
to
I hear what
okay.
and
y'all
I
are
Go
don't
saying.
get I don't get emotional really.
ahead, Biz.
I hear what y'all are saying. Again, I get it. I'm not condoning
He's
in
not
any
meaning
way,
to.
shape. No, I've never condoned it in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. That's the lowest of the low, in my opinion. I was born and I was raised to protect and defend women and children. That is the code that I live by. Period. But I also understand the hardcore reality of that there will always be predators out there. So all that I'm saying, and y'all and the women clearly made it clear that I gave a solution too early, which in my opinion doesn't make sense to me. I get it from an emotional aspect.
I didn't
But
say that.
well, so the other two women said that.
I said it.
I get that from an emotional aspect, but logically that makes no sense. If we can address the problem, this nigga Diddy is a coward. He's a fucking coward for putting his hands on a woman. Period. That's not going to be the first time, and that's not going to be the last time it happens. But with the awareness and bringing a solution to the problem, we can further prevent this. I can tell men stop putting your hands on women all day and night. We can say that till our face is blue. But there is always still going to be a woman out there that is going to stay with a man that puts his hands on her and abuse her and not speak up for it. So it's one of those situations again where all it is that I'm saying is that let's be real, let's acknowledge what's going on, and let's give people solutions much rather than talking about something that we already know. Let's get straight to the point. This can be avoided by X, Y, and Z. That's all that I'm saying.
So to me, I was with you up until that point. Because what it sounds like you're saying is a woman is stronger than a man. Like you're going to emphasize, like, let me preach to a woman because she's going to get it so much faster than this guy is going to get it, right? And we need you to, it's okay to talk to both. We don't want to dismiss anybody from this situation. We want both of them to be equally accountable. Nobody, if the man is the leader, right? And you're saying, and we're teaching our daughters, oh, you're supposed to be submissive. Oh, you're supposed to be this kind of person. You're right. You're supposed to look out for certain
You're
things.
supposed to be submissive to your husband. Let's clarify that.
Right. You're supposed to be submissive, but you always say you're a wife before you're a wife, right? So
you show your worth. You show your worth and value as a wife. Absolutely, the same way that a man shows his worth and value as a husband before he becomes a husband.
But what I'm saying to you is when people come in and they like, oh, this woman, she's so hard, but she's not married yet. And you say, well, you can't flip it just because you're married now. So that's what I'm referring to. So you know how people say, because a lot of these women are not married and they're like, oh, she's so hard. You know, you got to be feminine. You got to be, you got to be feminine. Submissive. You're right. So feminine women, when you put a feminine and a masculine together, most of the time, the masculine, when it comes to strength, physical strength, in which we're talking about in this situation, he's going to be stronger. And we just said men are more logical. Manipulation is in the it's out your mouth. You manipulate through logic, right? Women lead with emotion, men lead with logic. Okay, so you're playing on the other person's weakness, so to speak. So all I'm saying to you is We can't just say, oh, we got to all, because I hear this in this space all the time when it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to sex, when it comes to anything. It's always the woman has to be the bigger person in a situation. We're assuming the woman should be the smarter person, the bigger person in the situation. It's never, oh, just dismiss what he does. He can do whatever, because you should be smarter, because you're the woman. You should close your legs. You should avoid this situation. And you're like, oh, because he's able to run wild, do whatever. That's what it sounds like. That's not what you're saying, but that's what it comes off as. It's like it's always the woman's fault. When is it ever? Look what I'm saying, because you just said, I'm going to not talk, because I can tell a man all in his face that he shouldn't do this, this, and this. Well, you should. You should, just like you can tell a woman in her face, you should sleep with a man without a condom, but they're both stubborn. They are, but it doesn't mean you should stop.
I blame both parties.
It doesn't mean you shouldn't stop talking to each one of them. You shouldn't just focus on one. You should talk to both of them, because they both have their weakness and they both need to be spoken to. And that's all we're saying. Just like you just acknowledged he was wrong, blah, 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 blah. You didn't start out that way.
I did start out that way.
Did.
That was literally the first thing I said.
But what I'm saying,
look, this is what I'm saying. You literally just pointed out. You literally just pointed out
what I heard.
The things what you heard. You just pointed out.
You didn't
what
say
you heard is not what I said. You literally just said what you heard is not what I said.
So maybe this is the problem. Maybe I heard 5% of what he should do. He did, and maybe 95%.
That's what you wanted to hear. No, that's what you wanted to hear.
Because what I heard in the beginning, what I remember, what stood out to me, because it was talked about the most, was the television, the coverage. That was the first thing I heard, the topic.
That was the first thing that kicked off.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the first thing I heard.
So Viz, you put more emphasis on her going into the entertainment industry. You spent like 5 to 10 minutes on the entertainment industry about she should have known who Diddy was and what comes with being in entertainment. No. You made
we're talking about the band in Day 26.
No, I brought that up. You were talking about the fact you made the statement Diddy was wrong. He should have never did it. He shouldn't put his hands on women. Diddy was wrong. He's an evil this. Okay. Then you spent 30 minutes on Cassie and how she should have seen the signs like AP just addressed. She should have known what she was getting herself into. You're part of the entertainment industry. You know what happens in the entertainment industry. People need to realize that it's all you spent 30 minutes on how all the reasons she should have known of avoiding it, but you spent 2 minutes or 1 minute or 45 seconds on Diddy.
That's why I didn't remember.
I literally said that when we were talking about the band in Day 26 walking to get
I literally did not look, Liz, listen, just understand what I'm
you're not seeing why you're being interpreted a certain way, Viz. We're trying to break. You asked the question, why did y'all understand what HD said and why did you receive it better? And then you said, Casey, what was the difference between what HD said and I said? And the three of us and AP are telling you, all 4 of us are saying individually what we took at each step and how you presented it, because language is an art. Communication is not a black and white issue, right? I mean, a black and white thing. People receive things differently. Me coaching and dance, me being a fitness instructor, certain people can take my harshness, certain people can't. They say, oh, you too hard on me, you too tough. Other people say, oh my God, Casey, I come to you because you're so straightforward with me, and that's what I need. People don't receive things the same way. So if 4 people are telling you that they received it a certain way, then try to understand that that's how it came off.
Because y'all the victims and y'all should be blamed. That's the same thing. It's your communication.
So listen to real fast, Viz, real fast. It was to the point where I didn't even remember you saying that. All I heard was this blog about Cassie. I remember AP saying it. I remember everybody. You could have said it, but it meant nothing because it was such a small amount of time. I don't even remember you saying it. Right. So imagine, it's like me being in the classroom and I say one term, I give you a definition on one thing, but then I talk about all the, you gonna study that, all the stuff. You like, she only mentioned that one time. Like, did she even mention that? Like, what? Because you said so much that was not even, that's just how the brain works. That's an education, everything. You emphasize you with the point that, and I get it because you want the solution. And I completely accept the solution.
Then he said we heard it wrong.
I didn't even remember you. And
Shan said she heard it wrong.
We heard it wrong. We heard it wrong.
Shan literally said that she heard it wrong.
No.
You literally said you verbatim said.
Hey, come on. Hey, let me. Can we pay some bills?
I heard it wrong. We only take 1 minute on Biz.
It's not that I heard it wrong.
And all the time on us.
It's not that I heard it wrong.
Biz?
Come on, man.
You emphasized something else. Let's do these. Let's do this. Let's do this. But I agree with what you're saying, Biz. I'm not negating.
I'm gonna say this one thing real quick. So the only time that I mentioned the industry thing was when Casey mentioned what Diddy did to the band on making them go to go get the cheesecake. That was when I mentioned what goes on and that is a norm in the industry. That was the only time that I mentioned that. See, the problem
that's
is
the part I was talking about. I was talking about the coverage.
Okay. We got to pay some bills. We got to pay some bills, Biz.
God damn.
But we get it, Biz. Your point. I just want to be very clear, real fast. So we're gonna get off of this, Biz. I want you to be very clear. You clarifying, I get what you're saying now. It just didn't come off that way in the beginning, but everything that you're saying now and after the fact, I get it, and you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's. No, I don't think you understand. It would be beating it.
Let's move on.
Now he gaslighting.
There's a lack of empathy. When you talk, it's not a lot of empathy and sympathy.
It's a lack of empathy.
That's fair. And I said that through the gate. I'm giving this message, and I may be lacking empathy in it, but I feel that in the current situation that we're in, that is not something we know. Like we don't need any more coddling.
That's an excuse, Viz. You still got
we don't. That's why he needs to be. You're right.
So be it.
Right. There's no more coddling, and he needs to be held accountable for beating that girl's butt. There's no
absolutely. He should be beat on sight.
He should be held accountable for beating that girl's butt.
He should be beat on sight. He deserves a pumpkin head plus some.
And then you can see. We need to be beat for keeping the footage. Like, let's talk about that.
Shan,
let's pay the bills. Let's pay the bills.
Hey, Shan, you got on your glasses. Can you read them tonight?
Oh, let's see. Melvin Combs' son is cooked. Flamboyant and is that freaky? Let me zoom in.
I got you. I got you.
I'm gonna read them tonight. Hold on for a second. I'm gonna zoom.
I'm gonna read them tonight.
Fricassee. Is fricassee a word?
God dang.
God damn. Can't stop, won't stop. Get the fuck out of here.
Really with the 20 ball.
Y'all tweaking. If you think this behavior ain't normal in the space, Diddy in. We've been knew he a fan. We just ignored the red flags.
What's the FAN?
Okay. Listen here, Rilla is the sponsor tonight, baby. There's nothing we can do. It is what it is. It's a wild take, my guy.
It's a hardcore reality.
Hold on for a
so second. If things don't change, go ahead. My bad.
I've been all night. Wait till Sunday, Hank. Wait till Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Much respect to the people.
He's dragging me on multiple shows.
One of a kind.
I should have known better.
Appreciate you, Black Lexicon, for 20 ball, bruh.
Okay. All right, we can't hold these kids accountable. Also, Viz, we gotta stop making excuses.
I never said that. Like, what? When did I say that? I'm the only one saying to hold the kids accountable. Like, come on, man.
I don't know. I don't know what they're saying on this because you were consistent.
He said it every time. We heard you, Fizz.
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, you were very clear on that.
He said, "Hold them
Fuck them kids."
He said at birth. Hold them accountable at birth.
At birth.
Anything you
right out the
done.
Fuck them kids.
Oh man.
Don't play with this.
So,
Your kids all right,
That 5-month-old spitting up. Oh, accountable.
Vince, how old are your kids?
Swallow that shit. I'm just like,
you petty.
We are being very petty.
How old are your children, Viz?
We're just playing. It's all loving game. My point, I didn't want to come down on you, Viz. I just wanted to make sure that you hold because I can't stand when people just hold one side accountable and they don't hold everybody accountable. Oh, yeah. I can rock with you if you stand on your square, but like, you know what? We accountable. Everybody can get it. The men can get it. The women can get it. Everybody can get it.
You know, the one thing about Viz is consistent as hell. Every show, he's pretty consistent, and his stance is his stance. Most of the time, I rock with him. I was with him all the way up until he said, "Now, what she should have did." I'm like, "Hold on, man."
Hey,
she couldn't run fast enough to get it done, bro.
Totally agree. That's what, and that's why I am.
She should have took that Tim off and went upside that head.
She should have went and got a concealed carry, and as soon as he came out, popped his dumb ass.
I don't know about that.
Oh, bro. Ooh. You can silence the crowd, bro. Can't you? Bro, I do agree with self-defense. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna let you rock. I agree with self-defense.
We really have to take our emotions and sensitivities out of these things. If a man is going upside your head, you have every single
chop off the ball.
I heard it here.
Within God's law to protect yourself. If that is what he's doing, smoke his ass. Period.
What was that woman who cut that penis off in the middle of the night and threw it in the
street
and they found his
penis? That was bogus. No, that was bogus. That was bogus. She ain't have to do that.
It's limits to this.
No.
Also, it's limits to this.
He wasn't beating her. He wasn't beating her. He was cheating on her.
That's
different. No, if a man cheating on you, kill him. Tell him, bitch. The man cheat on you. Tell him.
No,
you got a right to protect yourself, girl.
No, I ain't saying. I ain't.
No.
We gotta be accountable. We gonna hold him accountable.
No, just leave and don't take his dick with you. Just leave and don't take his dick with you. That please.
Accountable.
This is an honest conversation. This is it gets serious right here. Because I do want to understand why some women find why we as women, especially Black women, we do defend a lot of stuff. We do keep a lot of stuff because we're so into it. We see in these spaces, we're so into, but we don't want to hurt him. Or we will take some shit, for a long time, and we be like, we don't want to hurt them. Oh, we have a tendency to put other people's feelings before our own. You know what I'm saying?
That's not Black women. That's women in general.
That's Black women.
You think it's women? Okay, so it may be.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
So one thing that really
let them have this, bro. Let these three women have this.
He won't. That's why
hold on.
Because it is a woman thing. Like, I want to know what it is about us. Wait. We do that.
I don't understand.
Here's another thing, Viz. Hold on, Viz. You and every time somebody try to respond to you, because you said, why do we get a different reaction? And if you wanted to, you every time somebody tried to say something, you did jump in every single time and like kind of shut them down if they were not saying what you wanted to say. So you probably felt that as well.
That's fair. I've been drinking a little bit, so my bad.
Oh, no excuses, man.
I wish I had
You're right.
I'm gonna hold you accountable from now on.
I'm looking at empty bottle. Y'all put an empty bottle back in the cabinet.
Listen,
I fuck with you, Ruth. You
happened is the very reason why it's so hard to have conversations between men and women, right? Because even though you heard what he said, because of what he said made you feel a certain type of way and made you focus on something, it didn't matter what he said was right or anything like that. You were just focused on the things that you had issue with. And the only reason why I see that you guys responded to me differently is because, like you said, I covered all the bases. The reason why a lot of people can listen to Viz and immediately know what he's talking about is because we filter all the stuff that he said and we got the overall message of what he said.
I did say that though.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is when you're talking to a lot of people, is that sometimes they have this thing in their brain that they're focusing on this one thing, and they're focused on that instead of the totality. So even though he answered your question multiple times, it didn't matter because the thing that you really got issue with wasn't addressed. It wasn't until I had the way that a lot of women think. I had subsection A, B, C,
But it
letter
was
D,
addressed.
Article 457.
You related to
I had
us too. That was a good example.
Yeah, and I had to, and that's the same thing Marcus does, and I can't stand it because we spend so much time trying to give you all of this information to make you feel better, but the answer was already given out the gate. And it's hard to have these conversations, and it gets frustrating.
Y'all the leaders though. Y'all gotta learn how to talk to us.
But we
So hold on. Wait. I'm feeling like some kind of bitch here. Hold on. Because all of these are slight shots at me when you keep saying women. Because the truth of the matter is, I heard I heard exactly what the fuck he said, and I was rocking with him because when I first led off, I said I agree with everything except for. Because this motherfucker straight up said she should have and literally didn't spend any real discussion time on the actual act of what happened. Now I get moving straight to solution. I get it, but you have to acknowledge
you gotta acknowledge the problem first.
We did
Like,
acknowledge
the problem is that he said what the problem was. He don't even give no energy to the fact. He didn't give no excuses for what he did. He didn't cover anything that he did. He didn't care about his thought process, anything. Immediately, Viz is like, this dude should be dead to the world at this point.
Yeah, and, but I'm sorry, but there still is a problem. Like this is kind of like the drug dealer, drug addict conversation. Like, oh, if they would have never took the drugs and this and that, and put everything on the person buying the drugs, but put no weight, no talk, no conversation on the reason the whole community is being flooded with drug dealers. Like, you still have to look at both sides of the issue, right? Just like you said. There's many men out there being created to be beaters and abusers, as well as being able to talk about the victim, man or woman, avoiding the abusers. So it's not just one-sided. It's not, oh guys, there are gonna be abusers out there, so this is how you just avoid the abusers. Yes, we get that, we agree with that, all of that, but still, we still talk about, like AP just said, talk about the actual act. The whole reason we're here tonight is because we're talking about Diddy. But the whole conversation was Cassie should not have X, Y, and Z. So women are more nuanced that way. And I get what you're saying. You don't want to have conversations with women because of that. But it's not always just a man-woman thing. Like, certain people think in different ways.
So
we are the most.
Let me say this. Wait. Let me say this because I've been quiet. Wait. Can I just say this?
Go ahead. Because I want you to hear everybody's opinion, because everything has to do with what you said, so you can come up and sum it all up, right? So it's kind of like this, because I think when we give other scenarios, you better understand what we're saying. It's kind of like if a police beats a person, we can sit here and say, next time, don't do that. Show your hands. We've seen that there are solutions. You can act this way, but it does not negate the fact that this nigga as a police officer, you should not be out here killing people. You should not be out here violating people's rights. You understand? You cannot take the ownership off of that police officer, that one police officer, not all police officers, that one, and just put it on, well, he should have had his hands right like this. He should, and we do that because I do feel like there needs to be a solution to say, you got to handle yourself a little bit different so you can avoid these situations. But you can't talk about that so much to the point where it relieves him of what it is that he did. And the fact of the matter is, you shouldn't have like it's wrong. You went in a situation harming somebody for something like something crazy. You understand what I'm saying?
That's common knowledge though. So let me say
No,
this.
but
Let me
we're
say
on
this.
a.
Wait,
I
no,
see
I'll
what
let
you're
you. I'll let you
saying.
talk.
So
Can I talk?
Biz. I'm just trying to listen. You do
I
it.
hear what you're
Listen,
saying.
I just want
I'm
you to
about
understand
to
what I'm saying.
address what you just
I
said.
know it. Look. It's common knowledge, but on a platform, we're here to discuss the situation and then come up with the solution. We can't just jump to the solution because some people might not even know the situation. You got to explain the story,
We
go through
just
the
watched the
story, the
video. There
problem,
is no
and then
story. What you mean? That we just watched the video of a man putting his
right.
hands on a
But
female.
so
Boom. This is the problem. Here's the solution. That's all that I'm saying. Now let me say this real quick.
right.
Let me say this real quick.
So do you just
So
so in a
one of
situation, do you focus more on what we should have done wrong in a police situation? Do you focus more on what we should have done wrong, or do you focus more on what the police officer did wrong?
all right. So my answer to that, there is a very informative book called The 48 Laws of Power. In this book, many women, I'm on the majority sense, I hear this from women. Women say that this book is full of for a narcissist, blah blah blah, woo woo woo. They downplay it and everything else. This book, in my opinion, will help save a person in those very situations, because now you are aware of what is really going on in the real world. The problem is that most women live in this fairy tale world where real shit doesn't happen. So for you to mention a police officer, right? All of my
Because I want
life.
you to
Let me
understand that
finish
men and
talking.
women are victims, not
Let me
just
finish
women.
talking, Shan.
But men and women are
All of my
victims.
life,
So no,
all of Shan, let me finish talking, please.
but
All of my life,
when you
I
clarify
have heard
this,
that I'm supposed to be afraid of when the police pull up behind me. I'm supposed to do this, that, and the third, in which I understand it. Yes, there are some asshole police officers out there, be it white, black, Mexican, Asian, whatever. It doesn't matter. What I have learned throughout my years of living is that there's a way that you engage and interact with these people to de-escalate it in those instances. Are there some instances that have happened that you cannot avoid? Absolutely. Is there a situation that you may become a victim? Absolutely. But there are ways to avoid those situations. And all that I'm saying and doing is giving the solutions so that we can avoid those problems. When I was younger and running the streets, I was one of those guys that will go and take certain routes to avoid, because I know the police be posted up on this street, so I'm gonna take this street. I'm not gonna go in this community at this time because I know I'm gonna get pulled over. And that was when I was in the streets and running the streets and doing shit that I had no business doing. But now that I'm legit, I police get behind me. What's up, officer? How you doing? What's going on? Oh man, you got woo woo woo. Yeah, here you go. And I give it to him and I go on my way. You know what I'm saying? There's ways that you can avoid it, but if you approach everything with fear
But if
and
they
you
plotting
react,
on you, what if they plotted on you like they did that guy? In that case, you cannot avoid it. So
I
those, even though
already
it's a small
acknowledged that.
percentage,
See, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You only
I
hearing
heard
what
what you
you want to
said.
say.
No, you know what I
So
should have said? I agree with you first. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you say I agree with you, I had to learn this. If you say I agree with this part or that part, and which you kind of did, and then go into it, then the person like, oh, okay, he hurt me, and then they back up and they let you talk. We just talk about communication because you said, why did we hear HD and not you? These are the little things.
Listen,
Okay,
let me tell you
but
something.
all right, let me finish my story. So
And don't forget to read
I
the
agree
48
what you're
Laws of
saying.
Power.
so let me just finish real quick. Another reason why I stand so strong on this is because, again, in my earlier years, in my teenage years, I literally went and whooped a few men, boys, teenagers that I knew was putting their hands on women that I knew and that they were dating. So now I would go beat them up, and the woman would then stay with with the guy that I beat up, and now I take on an unknown enemy with his friends, and so on. So it's a domino effect of where if women are expecting men to protect them, right? And you're saying that we're supposed to be the leaders, then if we're supposed to lead, then you should just be willingly following somebody that's openly telling you that we're trying to lead you. We're trying
You
to
said that you had
protect
to be
you.
married, though. You said that you only submit to the man you're married to.
Yeah.
That submission and listening,
You see
leading,
how crazy?
that's two different things. I said that a
What day
woman.
do you submit
Yeah.
though? What day? What the at the wedding? That's when you submit, or like is it way before, like as a girlfriend, or because you said show your worth? I just wanted to get clarity on that submission one.
That you just went you
So
just
let's
spent
just
into a whole.
We talked about the same
it's
thing 50
expensive.
times.
Y'all,
I
But
just
I
need
want
y'all
to answer
cold
to
but
what
blooded.
let's
we
just
Y'all
be
is
very clear.
cold blooded,
Let's be
cold dog.
we've been on
No,
here for
but
Y'all
let's be very
dishing.
two
clear.
and a half hours. The
but
chat said we going on
Listen,
and
let's
on.
just be very clear. I want to, Ruth. I just want to be very clear. Some men are not leaders. Y'all can hang that up.
I
You
agree.
couldn't lead yourself to the bathroom if you had to shit. You understand? So let's just because you have a penis, leaders are leaders, okay? Just because you're a man does not mean you can lead. So we gotta stop saying that. You have to
I've been
follow
leading
the
all
right.
my life, and that's why I'm standing
I'm
10
not talking
toes
about you.
down.
Yes.
I'm saying
What I'm
if
saying to
we're
you is
addressing.
so yes,
He said, "Why y'all not listen to me?" I said, "Cause you're not my husband. Cause that's what you said. Don't listen to nobody.
So
Ain't your
don't
husband."
listen.
so if that's the
But
case, then you
the
can't
thing is
expect
random. But
all
I'm
men to
just saying what
protect
you
you
said.
then, right? If that's the
but
case, then
but
you can't expect the
No.
men to
So
protect you.
listen.
But you just said we
Viz,
shouldn't submit
No.
till the
So
wedding day.
Viz, I just heard what you said,
listen.
bro, and I agree with much of what you said, but you added some context, and I don't know if everybody caught it. But you added some context regarding a situation where you protected females, and then at some point you created enemies. So you kind of projected a little bit at the very beginning of this entire stream. Part of what you part of what your stance is a projection of situations that's kind of happened to you, which is why you're like, yes, Diddy is a fucking monster and a coward, and he needs to be 6 feet under. But you went straight to her. And the
Straight to
reason
who?
you went straight to her, and I understand now, it took all this whole stream for me to understand. You went straight to her
It happened to him.
based off of your history.
No, this is based off
It,
of history in
your
general.
history.
This is history in general, bro. Are you so you can literally sit here and say that there are men that have not had the same exact experience as me? This has
I've
been
had the
going
same
on
exact
since the
experience as
beginning
you.
of time, bro. This
But
is
the
I've
literally
had
Now,
been
please
I've
going
say
had
on.
the
something.
same exact experience as you.
the woman
But
never
but
asked you for the protection. You
that's
inserted
No,
it.
in the
I gotta.
conversation.
Because
We
I'm
never
a
said that.
leader. Because I'm a
Okay, so
leader.
you presented it.
Come
We didn't
on
even
now.
ask you
Let
a
Come
me.
on,
question.
man.
Let
Y'all
me,
I
tripping.
can't
y'all.
follow you. You're not my husband.
Y'all tripping.
I want.
Y'all tripping.
Why you
Y'all,
doing that? Why
I
you
gotta
doing
say
that, Ruth?
something after y'all finish Cassie.
Because y'all be saying incomplete stuff and it don't make sense when you put it together.
This
Now
the
you see
part.
how crazy it sounds.
This the part. Right. Let me tell y'all this.
I'm sorry,
Because somebody just made a good
Y'all
point,
killing
Hey,
me.
and everybody on this point, everybody on this
HD gonna have
panel
to be
agrees with
my
this, right?
interpreter.
Listen,
Yeah, HD gonna have to be my interpreter for the rest
Want me
of
to
the
be
night.
your
I'm gonna send
translator?
it to
I'm
you in
only
the
using
chat,
your
bro.
language.
Y'all.
I'm using physiology
listen.
right now, and I'm getting what? Don't rocks,
Hey, y'all,
don't
listen. Let me just say this. So I just want to point out, when I say leader, somebody in the chat said in the Bible, it says men are the leaders, right? It's
Man
so
is the
funny
head
to
of the
me how people
household.
can quote the Bible. Listen what I'm saying. Y'all quote the Bible when it says men of the household, but God is over you. Do you follow God? Y'all out here fornicating.
Yeah.
Y'all out here doing everything that Bible tell you not to do. But all of a sudden, that passage that say men are the leaders.
Y'all sound like
we
a
want to
slave
hold
master.
true to that. Listen, half of y'all be like, everybody ain't Christian, but they Christian when it come to leadership.
That's it. That's
Oh,
it.
they Christian with it? Like, come on now.
That's why
God said, don't be lukewarm. Don't be lukewarm. You either in or you out. It ain't no gray, boo-boo. It's black or white. So you can't be sitting here talking about no dick, no penis discipline. I ain't trying to get married because it don't benefit me.
Saying
But
you know you protecting right now, right?
Submission Christians. That's it.
And none of the men on
I'm
this
sorry,
panel right now has even said anything close to that.
Now you see how I feel,
protecting
Shan.
like a
I need you to
motherfucker
jump
right
in
now.
because I be going crazy.
No. I saw it in the
So-
chat. I'm bringing up something that I saw in the chat.
Oh, okay.
It had nothing to do with
So I just want to say, first of all, I appreciate this very beautiful panel. You ladies are gorgeous. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But here at the 3-hour mark,
Trying to diss me. Hold on.
but so here at the 3-hour mark, I am officially Team Viz because we're at the point to where we need to start talking solutions. And yes, she should have seen some red flags early on in their relationship. Casey, I know you need to roll.
Yeah,
I want to hear your what you see as some of the solutions to help prevent these situations.
Yeah, she is 30 minutes late from her previously quoted time, by the way.
Y'all don't hold me to the carpet. Don't hold me to the carpet. Well, it's my first time on Chic Critique, and so I'm just trying to be respectful of that, of holding space on your show, Shan. So, and I appreciate the conversation. So
Oh, fuck that. Jump in the pool, Casey.
Okay. No, as far, I really don't want to talk about Cassie because we don't know all the ins and outs. And so that's the only reason why, Biz, I was giving you a hard time is we see what we see, like AP says. And so it's kind of hard to pass judgment. But what I can talk is in general terms of a person being in a situation where they find themselves, right? Whether you're in a situation where you think you see signs or you think you may be looking into something, it may be a clear indication to talk to somebody and pass it through someone you trust, someone older than you, especially if you're a young girl or a young lady or young woman. Try to pull someone to the side, whether it be older man, preferably an older man or a female, about, okay, I'm seeing this. Is this something that I should be patient with, or is this something that is clearly a red flag and I need to remove myself because I don't know what path I'm on, right? I think your village of having mentors, parents, elders, people that you trust. I'm not from the school of, oh, you're in a relationship, keep it to yourself, don't talk to nobody. Da, 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 da. At the same time, I don't believe in gossiping about my relationship, even before I was married, to friends, because I feel like if we're all in the same wavelength and maturity, we can't help each other anyway, right? So it's like the blind leading the blind. But I do believe in talking to mentors. I do believe in talking to people who have successful relationships that seem to be successful because you only know what you see, right? And your elders that have some more wisdom within relationship or your school or any other organizations that you may be about. So talk to somebody when something doesn't look right. Trust those gut feelings. Your gut doesn't lie to you if you're not of a certain religion or you don't believe in a higher power. You need to be listening and doing something, because this world is way more supernatural than just on the surface. So really pay attention to things that are on the surface and that you feel in your heart or that don't feel right. Ask somebody about it if you don't trust that voice in you, and move with some swiftness if you get the green light to go.
I agree with that. And if you don't mind, Miss Shan, on the solutions part, like we're at the solutions part of the conversation where we typically are. I want to start with the two new ladies, and I would love for them to keep coming back because y'all are super dope, in my opinion. Ruth, you're funny as shit.
Thank you.
Never agree. We
She
don't never
definitely is.
agree.
I haven't seen this on Thursdays. I haven't seen this on Thursdays at all.
They said
So,
R is for rude, so I've been rude. Sorry, guys.
so what would you pass along as preventable solutions? Like,
From
we're
your
not going to stop it. We know this is not going to stop.
we
But
can
what can we
diminish it.
do to mitigate?
All right. So Casey said something very important. I remember not having access to family members. Like when you don't have good relationships with them, and you tell a man like, "Oh, I've been through this, I've been through that," they see you as an easy target. So we have to be educated and say, you know what? Don't bring up any like negative things to people you don't know, because they're just kind of, if you talk to the wrong man and tell them stuff, like women need to start keeping things to themselves. Don't tell people your whole life story. Like, be safe. Like, you shouldn't be going on a date and getting chopped up, because you met somebody that on an app or anything like that. Because you're not taking those measures. Of course, it's bad that it happened. But anyway, when you have like those family members, those cousins, those brothers, when the brothers are not staying in the family, then you have nobody to talk to. You can't talk to male friends and that male friends want to sleep with you, or I'm a certain kind of way on a male friend situation, so I try not to keep them in my life. So that can happen. So you can't trust them. They might lead you and say the wrong thing over there. So your family is all you have. And then also the Black family has to stay together. We have to get married. This will be preventable this is why I go so hard for men and women coming together to get married. There's no just be pro man and stand on it until you die on the hill. Like that's the reason I feel bad now, that I feel like, Biz, you got the heat of all of the internet beef of the men, because like they seem to always just men, no matter what. Women bad, men good, that's it. And it's like the other men that doesn't, they don't mean to come from that angle, will get some of that heat. It's like, listen, you don't know how they how they are. They just constantly think that we're always bad all the time. And we are the most 3 reasonable women that I've seen on the internet. And if that was happening, the miscommunication, imagine. So anyway, to close it up, I think that we have to learn, like, what we're doing on the internet is very important, because we didn't have this before. We didn't have like people telling their stories and how they got caught up in certain things. And so if we start teaching them, the younger people, our experience, what we've gone through, and like, girl, I know what you're going through. Or you tell young girls to wait till you get older so you won't be manipulated. Wait till you get older to date. Like, dating is like a thing, like a little pool to have sex. Like, people don't really understand what that's about. So if you are young, you're 14, and you're talking about, I want to go on a date, I want to have a boyfriend, like, you're jumping into stuff you don't even understand yet. So wait till you get a little bit older. You don't got to do it the first sign, of you looking like a woman. You could wait until you develop some more and understand more of yourself just to date. And then you could start dating seriously. So you can avoid all of this stuff by not being focused on material things. Like, he got a pass because he got money. He got a pass because he looked a certain kind of way. Like, let's just start looking at people's character. All right. I'm gonna make sure my phone wasn't gonna die. Let's look at people's character. And if we going by character, then you would have never chose somebody like Diddy, because he has horrible character. These things we have to stop valuing. And sometimes in our community, we act like money's everything. Like, oh, it don't matter. He can do what he want to do because he got money. And it's like, no, you can't do whatever you want to do. There are going to be consequences. Even if you get away with it for 30 years, on that 31st year, you're going to have to pay the piper. So people have to understand that. And how can we figure out how to not create predators? What happened in Diddy's life so we won't let that happen again? Like, how do you know that your kid is not going to be the next Diddy? What? How are you preventing it? Are you talking to your kids?
Well, Ruth, not to interrupt you, but you just hit the nail on the head. I believe that he comes from a single mother worshiping her son type situation, right? Their relationship is very strange. And it is more low key now, but back years ago, it was, her always just kissing all over his face in public and on the red carpet. And it's like this is my boyfriend, this son, that type of stuff that Kevin Samuels used to talk a lot about in relationships, with having men that grow up to be, they desire power, but they also feel invincible. They feel that they can't be touched because their mother worshiped them, right? And then that also makes them look down and feel, and look and have more, and look as women and also men to be less than them because how their mother raised them to be a husband, brother, boyfriend, and son all rolled up into one, and best friend all rolled up into one.
For her, not her wife.
Right, and that is not the role of a mother. And so I remember being a teenager in my early 20s and seeing their relationship at award shows, and it just seemed like she worshiped him. And I have 3 brothers, and I've never seen my mother go on and on with my grown man, brothers, and kissing and I can imagine what that would turn a young man's brain into, as far as how he looks at other people and how he's been raised. So that you said it, with family, husbands and wives being together in the household, and then also dang it, I lost where I was going. But yeah, that you hit it on the head.
So HD, Phil, you get my back on this one. So a couple things. Ruth, we have been studying these very type of people for 40 years now, right? The exact background that we can assume that Diddy has, we have been exploring that and looking into it and coming to an understanding of it for easily 40 years, right? So we're not naive. We the only way that you can be naive to it is if you make that decision of doing that, right? So the other part of it as well, again, we have seen predators all throughout history since the beginning of time. We can learn everything that we can about them, but there's only going to be so much that we can do to X them out. That will be the extreme. And what the extreme would be is, as soon as you show that any signs that you are this type of person, period, that is we wiping you off of the planet. That's the only solution. But being that we live in a society that we live in, and in many cases, and this is not a punch or pun towards women, but in many cases, women protect these very exact same men. So it places everything in a very difficult position, because now we can't necessarily address it because they're hiding in the shadows without us even knowing it.
The women or society as well, because it would be better if
I would say society, yes, but in many cases it's women, and it's evident because we are literally seeing women coming out of the woodworks 30 years later, 20 years later of something happening, and they just now saying something. So that on its own should say a lot about how it is that we can prevent these things from happening. So if no one is coming forward and saying this nigga is a perv, he's a pedo, he's a rapist, whatever the case may be, and everybody standing foot on this nigga neck, then there's nothing that we can do about it. It's just going to continue to happen. The other part as well, everything that you guys just named that Diddy's mom was doing to him is literally the norm now. Women are literally doing that every single day to their sons. And that's the problem. That's why I'm saying that we need to hold these children accountable, regardless if the mama want to coddle them or not. It doesn't matter. Society, when real life kicks in, they have to understand that there's going to be consequences and repercussions to their actions. And if our women, and of course I put all the blame on men for not being in those in their children's lives. But if women continue to do this, we're fighting an uphill battle that can't be won. I've
And
even
that's why the other family members need to
hold
be
on, wait,
involved
wait.
to help
Uh, Let me
the
finish.
woman
Let me
raise the
finish.
child.
I was
It
about
was
to
actually
address
my
that.
turn. That's why I
I
jumped
was
in.
about to finish that point. So the other problem with that as well, and I've experienced this personally, is that I've attempted to be in young men's lives, but the mothers would literally undermine what it is that I'm saying to them. I'll scold them on what it is that they're doing because they don't have a man, a father in their life. They don't have a positive male reinforcement in their life. And I would scold them. And she literally went behind my back and babied the boy afterwards.
You're right.
So it's something is definitely something that is on the men, but we need to really realize and understand that the only way that this can be successful between men and women, between men, women, and child, the holy trinity, the only way that we can build our community back up is that it has to be a joint effort. It has to be a joint effort, and we have to both meet on one ground and understand that we're working towards this as one goal, because if one side fails, the other side fails, and when both sides fail, we all fail. So we both have to take accountability for every single decision it is that we make, because our future literally depends on it.
And now, like
Biz,
back to
I
what
completely
HD
agree. Go
said.
ahead, Ruth.
Thank you. HD said autonomy without responsibility. So single mothers have to know that if you're going to be in that role, however way you got there, you have to be willing to accept the responsibility. Okay, you have the mother and the father role. Okay, you don't know what it takes to be a man. When somebody comes and disciplines your child, let them do it. Let them. My son was at the church. He was running around. I said, "Let me get security." They walked him away. I knew what they were doing. They were supporting me. So I let people do what they need to do to help me in support of my son. Unfortunately, he was in a scenario we could not. It was out. Some things are out of your control, Biz. You never see it coming. That's the only thing. Like, I know it's a small percentage, but when you have lived it, you like, it's no way I could have seen this one coming here. That's just life being life, right?
That's
And
just life.
so,
That
but
happens.
I've tried to rectify the situation. I'm going to get married again, like things like that. I do what I can do to do damage control, but that doesn't mean that I did it. I wanted it to happen. I did everything you could think was right, but every single time it was only some certain mistake only an expert could know, right? And then I made that one mistake, and then it set me back plenty of years. So, but the autonomy, back to the autonomy with responsibility. If we're going to be making our own decisions, we got to be responsible for the full picture, the full vision. Not, no, I want my baby to be okay, my baby to be comfortable. No, at the age of 5, you're not even supposed to be really raising them. The dad's supposed to be really raising your son. So we got to know how to deal with our sons, because they can get out of control very quickly, very young. My son, he's the only one in the house. He'll go in the refrigerator at like 1 year old and get food and drag it and say, "This is what I want to eat." The kid's sitting there 10 to 11, won't even feed herself, waiting for me. But a boy is going to go do what he got to do. Not my kid starving in the house by himself. He going to eat some paper. I don't care what he do. That boy going to make sure he's okay. So they're different, and we have to make sure that we put them in a position to win, even if we started behind, the starting line.
Ruth, I totally agree. I totally agree. HD, what you got on solution, sir?
So I appreciate everybody's perspective. I'm glad that you guys are able to articulate yourselves really well. I understand that the things that women are really skilled at, they protect people in a very different way, right? Men seem a lot more apt in protecting you physically. Women are more apt to protect you more spiritually and emotionally.
To go
Right?
off what he's saying,
And
kind of like this quote. That's women.
I don't
I'm
even.
just piggybacking off
I
what you
don't.
said.
So from a man's perspective, and I don't know if the other men on this panel can agree with it, but I don't understand what that means. I
So
protected my
basically,
father, not my abuser.
right. So from a woman's standpoint, if her father is abusing her, she won't say anything because I prefer to just keep my father because I'm protecting him, not the abuser. Meaning he's abusing me, but I'd rather just be abused than see my daddy go to jail. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of women, you'll be amazed. They got brothers who molest them, uncles, but because he's my uncle, like I love him so much, I'd rather save his
Or your child's
reputation.
father.
But that's the
Or
but
your
that's the
child father.
problem. But
It's
that's
just
the problem.
right. It is a
How do
problem.
we
Right.
so
It is a
so
problem.
how
We acknowledge.
I read that very differently.
how do we get women, because this isn't something that men can do.
It's
This
That's
that's not
HD.
but when you
that's
asked
not
that
that's
question, you jumped in. I asked that question.
It's HD's
yeah,
turn.
That's why I
yeah.
wanted to have that
Let me,
conversation with women.
go ahead, my bad.
Okay.
yeah. What's
I want you
interesting
to
about
just a
that
little
that what's interesting about that statement, right? So when you, Viz, gave the example of the second that you saw a problematic behavior that could lead to killing, that he should be killed for, right? And you want to snuff it out immediately. The beauty in women is you could potentially have killed somebody that could have eventually been better in the future, and you don't know that because you already killed him because he showed the first signs. Because a man's duty is to nip stuff in the bud, and the woman's duty is to give you a chance so that you can continue to grow and change and develop, right? That's why they're gifted with, carrying a body, carrying a child for 9 months, right? They have a long incubation period for to bring things they received to term, right? Versus us, we have that one session and we hold all the seed, and in 5, 10, a minute, 30 minutes, however long the action was, right? We just pass it off. Our ability to see a problem and want to swiftly get rid of it is our benefit, especially for things that are like immediate attention things that we need to kill. But if we always respond to things as if they're always an immediate danger, right? Even whether they are or they're not, we will never get to see the arc of repentance, or we won't be able to experience certain changes and growths so that it can show other people the possibility of the things that can be in the future. But as far as on this topic, right? Um, Interesting thing for me is you always have the best opportunity. Well, you may increase your opportunity of success when you don't do things by yourself, right? And that many people uh, quote the scripture. They said, he would never put anything on you than you can bear, right? To me, you should read a little bit further. It says that there's no temptation that's not common to man, but with the temptation, he provides a way of an escape so that you can bear it. Oftentimes we take things as if, like, especially when we talk about dick discipline and all these other things, we think that, oh no, you got to you got to stand tall, you got to be the pillar of discipline and da da da. You got this woman completely naked, I should be able to stand next to her and do absolutely nothing. Which, okay, there's some chance that you can do that, right? But a lot of your ability to be able to avoid and grow and be able to avoid temptation is to take the ways to escape from those situations before they even become a major problem. And I think that as we continue to have these conversations about, these people that should be what's it called, chastised for their problems that they cause and stuff like that, we should also understand, like, listen, men and women were better together. And if we don't take the time to understand that, though we have differences and these things, can kind of come together and make things happen. My words is really jumbled right now. But if we can understand the benefits that the other has, we can continue to build better futures for the rest of us. Because the thing is if it was all men ahead of everything, if we especially if we took Viz's approach, a lot of us would be dead already. But if we took all just a women approach, then we'd have a lot more issues in society because they just it could potentially not be a problem in the future. And we just like, nah. So I think that as we continue to appreciate the differences and understand, like, yo, like, it's not going to be easy. And it does not feel good to have yourself experience things that directly affect you and can cause you issues for the rest of your life and think big picture when the things are specifically happening to you. If somebody's fighting me and I'm getting beat up, I'm taking that personal. They're like, no, I don't take it personal. They beat everybody up, but he personally beat me up, and now I got a problem, right? So I understand it's hard for you wanted to think big picture when you're the one that's getting beat up, right? But if we continue to let our emotions continue to keep us in a stagnant place, there's a saying that says, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep it. So you must understand, listen, if you continue to fight with your limitations, right? And from your own limited point of view, you'll only have just that. So I would just encourage folks to be like, hey, listen, it is, oh, this is what I want to address. I saw the thing that I think Shan brought it up that said that she's not a victim. Whether you believe that you're a victim or not, if you received harm, you believed all this other stuff, something happened to you, you are a victim. That doesn't mean that just because you are a victim that you have to be like, woe is me. You can understand that you're a victim and still be like, dang, I can avoid this in the future, or I can protect other people from potentially being a victim. She is a victim. She is a victim of receiving physical harm from a person who committed a crime, a person she probably cared about, right? She's still a victim. But I think that we need to start approaching these conversations with two things can be true. Because oftentimes when we have our conversations, we're going to continue to go back and forth because we think, oh, this is more right than this. Or, you didn't account for this, you didn't count for that. The reality is two things is true. She was a victim. There's ways that she can, avoid things in the future. We can say that Diddy is a victim of his circumstances from beyond, but also he's a criminal because he decided to assault this woman and do these things to this woman, and now he deserves to get the repercussion of his actions. So we need to understand that we can have nuance and all this other stuff. That's fine, but we need to be able to call a spade, and not face significant vitriol from people that's literally want to quote unquote just be like, oh no, we can't do that. Nah, bro. If men are unwilling to take these stances that we take, we continue to let our cities and our families burn. But we also need to be submitted in such a way that um we are able to listen to reason. We are able to be humble enough to listen to other people's knowledge and expertise, and that we need to be able to make reasonable judgments so that we're able to continue to, you know, hopefully have better results. Because even if you do the right thing, that doesn't guarantee a positive result.
You got a church?
I want.
I just wanted to say something. I'm gonna hop off.
Go ahead.
Oh, I have to I have to acknowledge HD, I've never been on a panel with you before. The way you delivered everything you just said. I know AP has children, I know Viz has children. What I don't know is if you have children or if you're married. But I will tell you this. I had a sorority sister tell me years ago because I wasn't considering being a mother. She said, let me tell you, the way you influence people, you need your own children because some kids in this world need to feel and be loved and be taught and nurtured by you the way you've nurtured people that have no relation to you. The way you've spoken on this panel tonight, you should be someone's father and you need to be someone's wife. Someone needs to be your wife. You need to find it, your wife, and you need to be a father because you have a lot to give society and you have a lot to give a family. And I'm sure whoever is in your household will be influenced to influence other positively with patience and with wisdom. And I'm saying that from a Black woman to a Black man. When I recognize things and I see things, I believe there power in words and there power in really telling someone how you receive them, because a lot of people don't know how they're received, right? So it's important to really, if a person is impactful, take the time out and let a person know, hey, keep talking because people need to hear what you're saying. Sir, you have a lot to say and you deserve a family. And you, outside of a family, I don't know if you're a preacher, you have a lot to say and it has a lot of weight to it. So please keep talking.
You don't watch this
Please
show.
keep
You don't watch
speaking.
this show, do you?
No, I don't get to see y'all a lot on Fridays.
HD don't promote marriage.
Are you serious?
No, that's not true. It's not that I don't.
That's not complete.
Marriage every second you
That's not completely accurate, Shan.
Get you a prenup.
He be talking against marriage every. He's been married before, and he is an awesome mate. He will be a great husband.
You were with the wrong person. You were with the wrong woman. You're with the wrong woman. You were with some of the women like y'all are talking about tonight. You were with a woman who is not ready to be led. You were with a woman who does not understand leadership and wisdom. You're with a woman who is not able to be quiet and listen, right? And that is our biggest issue as women, being quiet. We can have a lot poured into us and we want to say it too, but sometimes, I know Ruth has said this a lot on Thursday nights, we need to be quiet and listen. Sir, find you a woman who's going to listen and have you a family, because you need to do that.
It's really the laws.
Get you a prenup.
Yeah. I love y'all. I had this time tonight.
I don't deserve to have a wife.
It's the laws.
Bitch,
You are.
Well, Casey, I have to say,
learn how to talk to her first.
Well, Casey, I have to say those were some fantastic words, and I needed to hear every bit of it. And I want you to understand, it's not that I have an issue with marriage. My thing is that the arguments that people use, it's very short-sighted argument.
Before you ruin the fantasy, can I just say, I agree 100% with what Casey said, and I'm glad she brought it out because I was you got me thinking the whole time on what you were saying.
I mean, it's when you
somebody's husband right there. We just gotta get him on board.
You are. I mean, when my husband speaks, man, when I met him in college, I knew. I'm like,
it's an anointing.
And he had told my best friend, that's my wife, and I'm like, what? Like, huh? But having those conversations, I'm like, okay, I believe you. All right, I'm gone. Daddy, mom, everybody, y'all cool with this? Okay, like that. That's how it was. And so you need a woman who's able to recognize that, and that's the type of wife you want, because if she's going to be over your children, she needs to understand that there is hierarchy, there is understanding. You need wisdom. You want a man with wisdom. And yes, AP Viz, y'all speak with wisdom. I appreciate you. I told you before we started the show, Viz, that I love watching you. So don't even say that. But I thought you were married.
I'm just messing with you.
But you gotta say yes first, HD. You gotta want a wife first. God's not gonna send you somebody you don't want. You know what I mean?
Very true. That's very true. Come on, Ruth.
You gotta say it with your mouth. Confess.
Yeah.
All right, he never said it. That's something that she put on him.
He never. I love y'all.
She put that on him. He never brought that up. She said he would. She put him in a whole marriage.
Come on, you at the altar. Come on.
But listen, don't get it twisted. I long to be a father. Like that's something. As I'm a teacher at heart. So when I do my teaching, like when I work with the community groups and stuff like that, like. I'm a teacher, and the way that I learn to be a good teacher is I learn to be a good listener. Like being able to teach something, you need to be able to understand how to deliver it in different ways. That's how you truly understand what it is that you have, because I teach music. So when I try to teach kids percussion and stuff like that, because that's what I do, it's I have so much like love for being able to teach somebody anything that I am familiar with, that I tend to have a lot more patience than most people, because I understand that it may take time, that even though you have the knowledge of something, it might not really click until years later. Like there's stuff that I learned in my music journey, like in college, but I could never fully implement it the way that I do now, because it never really clicked until like some years ago. And I was like, dang, I knew about this a long time ago, but now the framework and understanding of it is on a dramatically different level, because it just came out of nowhere one day.
Why don't you want a wife? You are skating around the point.
No, I didn't say that I didn't want a wife.
Oh, okay.
I never
It's the
said that.
law.
Okay.
He didn't understand the
Well, it's
benefits.
not even the law. I said, listen, this is my thing. I'm only willing to be married is if it's a quote unquote like a no-brainer. Like this has got to be like the best thing that I could ever see or imagine. Because like I said, or like Shan said, I have been married before and I effed up. I should have probably never been in that marriage, but I decided to be in that marriage, and I try to fight through my feelings. And at the end of the day, I effed up. Right. But I understand like the role and the responsibility and the weight of being a husband. So I might not seem as compassionate at times, because I know what's at stake. If I know that my family is at stake, I'm not going to play with certain things, even though you say it's so societally cool and that, my mom said it was okay. I don't care 2 cents what your mama said. Your mama not responsible for you. I'm responsible for you. So I'm going to carry things a certain type of way that you may not like, but I'm going to let you know, listen, there's one thing that you're going to say about Harrison, is that he not going to tell you the truth, and he not going to make sure that I'm covered. That's one thing that I don't want a woman that's tied to me that's going to feel that. If you don't feel covered and protected or anything like that, then we got a problem. I need to do some work. But oftentimes, because women live and grow and experience what they think, it's like sometimes you're always going to butt up with your own ideas, because you have your own experience and you lived your life a certain type of way. But then you want me to be responsible, but you have the freedom to do whatever it is you want to do. So
That's
then
an
if I tell
immature
you,
woman. She's immature.
huh?
She's immature.
So
Well,
We see that a lot though.
so we can go, because I'm not. I got it's getting late.
We about to go. All right, maybe next time.
No, go ahead. I want him to finish this. Yeah. So, but I wanted to clarify too what she was saying, because I think that both things can be true at the same time. Because this too is also true. She said, "I did not tell my dad because I knew what that meant." She didn't want to see her.
Right.
So that's another thing. If I tell my dad, he gonna kill this man,
Right.
and I don't want my daddy to be in a situation. So women are complicated creatures. We really are. We think about all aspects, and like HD hit on it. He's like, it's not a black. Women is like, okay, A B C D E F G. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's the realest thing that was said tonight.
So what?
Can I want to say something real fast, just real fast.
Everybody get their solution through, and then but go ahead with your solution, AP.
No, I listen to everybody, and I know we're running late. I just want to touch on something. That person that put that information in the chat, I want to say thank you for sharing with us. 2, I hope you are out of that, and if you are, congratulations for
she
getting.
clarified. AP, she clarified.
Yeah, she
that was the
clarified.
clarification.
She said that she got out of it.
She was saying sometimes women protect the abuser because they really trying to protect their dad, because they know that dad will
That was the way I read it. That was the way I read it. I didn't know if she was in that situation, and if she was in that situation, thank you for sharing. Also, if you're out of it, congratulations, and learn what you need to learn from it and continue to grow. But we appreciate you sharing if you were in fact talking about you. And also, I'm sorry you went through it if that was you. And as a father, please tell us, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what you think our reaction will be, you're probably right, but regardless of what you think our reaction would be, tell us, because at the least that will happen is we will pull you out of that situation, even at our own detriment.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're here for.
So
I
let
think one of
I,
the I'm gonna just say this real quick. One of the and not to linger on it, but one of the things that we always hear as men is that women want men to learn how to communicate to them or with them, right?
Mhm.
But it seems as if it's never the same and it's never reciprocated. So if men are saying something very straightforward and it's simplified as much as possible, we're saying this so that it's not being complicated. Uh, just as AP stated, even though that may be a situation that your father don't want to be in because of the consequences that may come from the actions that arise, it will be even more detrimental to that man if you were to lose your life in that situation. So it's one of those things where men, since day one, real men that was raised by real men from day one, we understand, and a lot of men may hate this in the chat, but we understand that we are the sacrificial lambs. We men are the ones that go to war to defend their land, to defend their children, to defend their women. This is what we're here for. So whatever the situation may arise, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I personally know men that have lost their lives in defense of women. And just to see the majority of women, especially nowadays, take that for granted, to blow it under the rug as if it's nothing, as if their lives meant nothing, when it meant everything because they were willing to give it. So in that situation, if it's something that comes up and it can be avoided, let's avoid it, because the consequences that'll come from it later on is going to be much more dire to us as men. Be it that we have to experience you go through it, and or us pay the repercussions of allowing for it to continue.
Okay, so I'm gonna sum this thing up. Okay, so this bothers me right here. I'm gonna go off. So Shannon, I know that you're new to this show, but maybe I should change the name to Shantae's A Chic Critique. I am the host of the show, so I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna probe. That's what I do. So if I'm not here, the show probably wouldn't go on. Okay. So with that being said, that's the reason why I'm going to talk, because it's my show and I'm going to ask questions because it's my show. So I just wanted to, we have that confusion every single week. Um,
Well,
but
Shannon knows he's Shannon being an asshole.
uh, so so
He here
um
every Friday.
so
I'm saying I know this person.
so to sum it up, so what I got from this situation, so I think that, and to piggyback what Vid said, I try to take it from both angles. If we quote the Bible and we say men are leaders in the Bible, I believe the accountability sometimes is going to fall on a man, because if you are the leader, God is going to hold you more responsible as the leader, in opposed to a person. You always hold the leader more responsible than anybody else. As far as this is concerned, the only thing that's bothered, because I heard people say about the moms and stuff, and I think that we should hold grace in this situation, because people tend to think that women are born in different situations than men are born. Just like he was born in a mess up situation, women too can be born in a mess up situation. They can also have bad guidance. They can also, we have to, I think in these spaces, we feel like women were born blocking out their environment and they're all should be good moms. No, it's some effed up moms, because she came from an effed up situation too. And that could be Diddy's mom. I don't know how she was raised. It could be a trickle generational thing. You know what I'm saying? She may think she's teaching him the right way because that's the way she was taught. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, and that's the part that kind of, and that's maybe another discussion for another day, right? But in this situation, we got to stop giving people so much power just because they got money. We got to stop worshiping money. When a person does wrong, we got to call them out. Listen, I know you powerful and you got money, you successful, but you did wrong in this situation. And on the other side, if we know we're in a bad situation, we got to stop putting ourselves in the situation. We have to be stronger than that and try our best to stop putting ourselves in bad situations, whether it be abusive situation, relationship situation that you shouldn't be in, all of these things. It is wrong on both sides, right? People can't abuse leadership. People can't be a victim forever. And when I say a victim forever, it's not even by being abused. You ain't got a good job. You ain't got a good career. It's you. You made poor decisions. If you getting abused every day by the same man over and over again, you keep going back, it's you. If you keep, having baby mamas and because you keep nutting in them, it's you. Right? So we got to stop being a victim ourselves. I agree. Got to stop being a victim. You got to stop playing so much emphasis on people with power, because when you worship people, they get away. Because we did that to him. Because I would tell you this, celebrities, he would have probably been a different man had he not been a celebrity. It's something about when they become celebrities and they get that power, you really find out what kind of man that person is once that money hit, or that woman too. Because when they get that, especially they had it, it's different between a grown celebrity and a young celebrity. I know because I've been around a person who had that celebrity at 15, 16, and they started out and they've been treated. It's like everything is a yes, yes, yes. They never get really no's. That can do something to your head, and you think like, I'm invincible. Like I can do whatever it is that I want to do. Just imagine nobody ever telling you no. And I would say this, just like we holding women accountable and saying, if you see something, say something. If you a man and you see something, because you got bodyguards, you got people around him that are men too, who see her getting her butt beat, that he's the confidants. If you see something, you got to say something. We gotta all be, I know we gotta try to take the village out of the situation. We don't like to be responsible for other people's issues and everything, but we gotta do better at speaking up so that next time it could be your cousin, it can be your sister, it can be your daughter. If you speak on it beforehand, it saves so many victims from being victims because you spoke on it and you nipped it in the bud in the beginning. And now you've been warned, don't mess with this dude because this how he is. And that way, if you walk over in that territory, you know at this point, And I want to clear this up too. Not everybody in the industry is a bad person. It's some legit good people in the industry. We want to take that out because people are like, oh, when you go into the industry, it's bad. I've seen great people in the industry. They're not all bad. This is not everybody's experience. Okay, so let's just nip that in the bud as well. But go ahead. I'm sorry, that's all.
And Shan took a bullet to prove it.
Why do I keep? I'm sorry, I'm hitting that button for my mistake.
We love you, Shan. Mm-hmm. Anybody else got anything else to add tonight?
Yeah, no, I think Shan closed it out right. And this isn't to throw a rebuttal on what she said, but more so to just add to it.
I thought she ended it well.
No, I like your middle name. Degree in Biz Speech. Please explain what's going on.
No,
you about to go in. We're not even gonna let you. We're not gonna let you. It's great.
All right,
it's closed well. It is well. I'll be here next Friday. We can finish this.
Be the best you out here.
Be the best you. I'm gonna cancel. I ain't gonna even end the live. I was about to cancel it in the live, but it just kept on going. My apologies. Let me end the live. Good night, everybody. See you next week. Right. I'll be talking next week too a lot. So you might not want to log on. You think I talk too much. See you. Good night.